In the world of black projects and classified aerospace programs, few names carry more weight than Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works. For decades, whistleblowers and insiders have pointed to this secretive division as one of the primary places where technology that defies conventional explanation may have been studied, reverse engineered, and in some cases, flown. Ben Rich, the legendary former head of Skunk Works, once stood in front of a room and made a statement that still echoes throughout the UFO community to this day. We now have the technology to take ET home. And even rumored to be on the Lockheed Skunk Works wall was a succession of craft that ended with a large, silent, triangular vehicle, a craft that would later be whispered about in the same breath as the legendary TR-3B Astra. Kyle Knopp is a current Space Force technician and radar systems specialist. Before that, he served as an Air Force mechanic, and later he worked for Lockheed Martin. His expertise lies in navigation and communications on advanced aircraft systems. But on one particular evening into the early morning, while heading into work at Lockheed, Kyle witnessed something that he was never supposed to see. Oscillating at treetop level over the flight line on base hovered a large, silent, triangular craft right near the facility, a craft that looked strikingly similar to the very technology rumored to exist within the blackest corners of the defense industry. This is one man's direct, first-hand account, someone who spent years working on the very systems designed to detect, track, and understand the objects in our skies. Today, on this episode of Total Disclosure, Kyle Knopp steps forward with his story. Welcome back, everybody, to Total Disclosure. My name is Ty, and I'm the host of the show. Super excited to be back in the chair today. I took about a week off, a little bit more than a week, actually. And before we get started today on the show, I definitely wanted to say this because in the last week and a half, roughly, I snapped out of like looking at anything on X, or I just kind of took myself and unplugged, and I feel so much better and grounded and refreshed. So I really do implore people to do more of that once a month, once a week. I think with this topic, UFOs and the phenomena and these very existential things, it's easy. It's so easy to get lost and wrapped up in feeling like you're on the cutting edge, feeling like you're talking about things that matter, that you forget that you're a human being and that this is not all that life is, right? Life is enjoying the experiences. Life is not about sitting on an X space. It's not, whether we want to believe that or not. So that's my PSA for the day. But welcome back to Total Disclosure. I'm super happy to be here today. We have a very, very special guest. I was going to do this as a new segment, pulled an audible because I thought that this was a little bit more important than just a 30-minute, to the point setting. But today we have Kyle Knopp, who is a space and aerospace technician, radar electronics mechanic. He was with the United States Space Force at Hurlburt Field, Florida, or still is, a U.S. Air Force veteran from 2008 to 2016. He specialized in aircraft maintenance, communication, navigation, and radar systems. He later worked for Lockheed Martin before returning to government service with the Space Force, where he actually still maintains an active security clearance. Kyle today is going to share his raw, firsthand account of a personal sighting of an unidentified triangular craft that he saw on base. This is told straight from him without too much speculation, too much filler. It's just his witness experience and what we can discern from it. As I've said on the show so many times before, the people that protect our country, the people that sign their lives away and go risk it all. They literally put their life on the line for the freedom of this country. If they come back and they say, hey, I saw something and I just want to be heard, we owe it to them. At the minimum, we owe it to them to hear them out. And unfortunately, this gentleman has been plagued by a lot of people in the community who've just turned their heads. And I ask, why is that? He maintains an active security clearance, worked for one of the companies that many people suggest has to do the most reverse engineering and exploitation of material of unknown origin. Why is everybody looking away? So today I think we're going to discern a little bit more about why that may be. So with that, I introduce Kyle Knopp, U.S. Air Force veteran. Thank you so much for your service. Let's kick it off. My friend.
Thank you.
How are you?
That was quite the intro. Now I feel like I got big shoes I got to fill.
Yeah, you do. Yep, huge shoes.
I'll tell my version of the truth. That's all I can do. Open book, like I always say. Just ask questions if you got them.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have a healthy discussion. And I guess maybe let's break the ice. Who are, beside from what I said, brief stuff, what made you go into the military? Where are you from? Why'd you take that path? Who is Kyle?
Oh boy. I was born in Syracuse, New York, upstate New York. My whole life, I lived there till 18. I actually met my internet sweetheart. She lived in Idaho and I lived in New York. We met. Eventually I was like, I need to do something with my life. And I realized that like when she told me to do stuff, I did it well. And I was like, I need somebody to tell me to do things. And I know the military. So my dad did prior service. He was Air Force for 12 years. And her father-in-law was also prior service Air Force as an aircraft mechanic. And my dad did NSA secret stuff for SR-71. He was the navigator person that told it where to go in Okinawa. So that's pretty cool. But so I had that like in my background and I was like, okay, well, I need to get told what to do. So let me join the military.
Some people need direction, Kyle.
People were like, Kyle, you're not big and strong and tough enough for the Army Marines. Let's be real. Like, I did want to be a Navy SEAL, but people talked me out of that. I was like, I know I have the mental ability to just block stuff out. And they always said it's like 90% mental. Anyway, long story short, I ended up joining the Air Force in 2008. It was January, and I went open electronics because I was always like that tinkerer. I messed with stuff. Like if stuff broke, I kind of want to, like, it's already broken. Let me just check it out, see how it works. Can I fix it? So like anytime I'd ever go visit my parents, I fixed their microwave, I fixed their sliding door, I fixed their lamp cords, I'd fix, just because like it's broken, you're gonna throw it away. Why the hell not?
Right.
That's when I learned about electricity, because my PlayStation 2's capacitor, I plugged that sucker in. I was like messing with it, unplugged it. I was like, oh, you know, I was like a little kid. So I was like, oh, that's what a capacitor is. Okay, that's what discharge feels like. But then by the time I was like, you get to 18, you're like, I messed with this enough. I feel comfortable with electronics. So I went literally open electronics, knowing, because if you go with like a specific thing, they have to give you that career field. I don't know if you know this or not. So like you can go in and like pre-request certain things. Even you can go and get like a specific job if you're really needed. But I went open electronics, which usually means you need a higher ASVAB, so your testing score to get in. So then that way I know no matter what the Air Force is going to give me, it should be electronics related. So that's why I got aircraft mechanic, and it was comm nav, so the communications and navigations. So I went to Herbert Field. It was supposed to be just comm nav in general, which can go on any plane because they all have communication and navigation.
And navigation, yeah.
And then for some reason, I went to the Air Force Special Operations Command, AFSOC, so it's Herbert Field, Florida. And then they shredded me, which means they like recode you to only AFSOC planes. So I was stuck basically at Herbert Field for all 8 years of my entire service. I was like, yeah. So I got to see everything on that base. Like I literally got to do like CTK, which they were handing out the tools. I did honor guard because there's so many of us comm nav. There's like 50 of us that they just shred it, or they just pawn us out to anything and everything on base.
Can you show the coin again?
Oh, so it's kind of blurry enough.
That's
so
all right.
The 6 months you do base honor guard.
Nice.
And then on the back, there's the creed that you had to say to like earn it.
Beautiful.
It's humbling and really depressing. I'm sure in other areas it's great, but down where I am at, it's all retired people in like special forces. So everybody's dead. So
yeah.
The ceremony is just a funeral. I'm like, this is hurts your soul after a while.
Yeah, a little bit. But
sorry. Yeah.
You're you really like that the electronics, you like the comms.
Electronics has always been my thing.
What was the most, what was the aircraft that you were most familiar with, or was there an aircraft that you were most familiar with?
So when you go there, you get assigned to a specific aircraft, and mine was the MC-130H. So it's a C-130 hybrid. So like I'm sure you can, obviously most people know what a C-130 is. This big ass cargo plane with the props. Mine had a long nose, if you call it like a duck nose or whatever, and in that is the bunch of radars. I don't know if I can go into detail, but you guys don't need to know all that anyway. But train following, train avoidance. So it's made to fly like in the mountains and like drop stuff off the back, drop people off the back. It's heavy radar stuff basically. So like I have a lot of like RF expertise training in that. Like there's no other plane that really has. You have to look at it, to be honest. It's a big long nose. It's the MC-130H. I think they sadly retired it, and then before that they switched to the J model, but I got out before all that.
Right. Now you end up, so you do 8 years at Herbert Field. How do you go from there to Space Force and Lockheed?
Well, I got out and then I took a break, and then I was like, stop feeling sorry for yourself, get back into it. So I got my VA disability, let's be real, whatever. And then I tried to get back to this area because I know there's a lot of stuff here. But before that, I went to like Macon, Georgia, which is not the greatest place, because it's just the workplace there. From going from professional to not professional is like, holy shit. So I went to Warner Robins, and I was doing like, I don't even want to get them in trouble, but Delta planes, all them, like I'd drop a screw and I'd go to look for my screw that I dropped, and then I'd literally find 15 other screws.
Oh God.
And then I'm like, and you could see, like, just looking around, there would be like 5 or 6 people with like a really tight, clean looking toolbox, and like they have the crap together. And then you just go talk to them, and they're like, yeah, I'm prior Navy, I'm prior Air Force. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You're the only ones that look like you know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
I just had this vibe that like it was very, very bad. Something bad.
Because you're supposed to account for every screw, every bolt, nothing should go missing.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
If you find anything in sight, it's your responsibility to pick it up.
Yes. So, and you're working on aircraft. So like one bolt missing could catastrophically.
Things not being torqued right, things not being sealed right, things. I'm like, I went inside the thing, sealed it with a torque wrench and did everything. And then QA came in there and was like, I can't pass this because you got all this stuff in here. I'm like, I worked right here. And I looked around the area and it was like just zip ties and everything everywhere. I'm like, I didn't do any of this. And this is inside. This is where you hook up the power to the aircraft. I'm doing the other side of it. So they just have loose stuff everywhere inside this plane, just rattling around. And I'm going to take the blame for it. That's why I was like, I need to get out of here immediately. Like, this is insane. So I was like, I need to find a better job. And that's when Lockheed Martin was like, hey, yo. And that's now, where I came back to the same base that I was working on, dude. All 8 years for the Air Force. Yeah. You're like, you'll come back to Herbert Field?
Welcome back.
The other side to the flight line.
Welcome back.
I really came back like a year and a half later, and people were like, Kyle, what the F are you doing here? Because I was in like clothing like this, and like you can't be out here. I'm like, yeah, I can.
Your badge is green now or whatever.
It's a lanyard, so you just have your line badge. Like, other than that, like, I'm wearing civilian clothes and
like, did you now
working on the exact same plane? Like, now you can't tell me shit.
Did you have a active security clearance?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, do you think that? Yeah. So that's for Lockheed, right?
For the flight line in general, you have to have a secret clearance.
Oh, for the flight line?
Yeah. So I was working on the flight line planes. So I did multiple things for Lockheed Martin. And then, so like originally I was a simulator aircraft person. So I was literally flying like the MC-130, the C-130s, the CV-22s, and it's like, so they can train like how to load stuff and all stuff, like gunship stuff there, so they can train how to like shoot and everything. They all connect together in different locations and yada yada yada. I did that for a while. So like I did that night shift. That's actually when I saw my UFO. But there's other, like, later on I did other parts of Lockheed where you did actual simulate, or I go on and did wired modifications for like Link 16. So we were putting in a system that talks to all the communication navigation basically and sends it out so everybody can know how much fuel, how much ammo, all that kind of stuff everybody has, and they all communicate together. I did that for a while, and that's why I went to Okinawa for 3 months, because I actually had to modify those planes over in Japan, which is pretty dope because I never got to go anywhere for the Air Force. And I was like, wait, there's my planes this whole time in Japan? And I was like, I knew that, but I never had the chance to go. I kind of forgot it, but it was so cool. So I'm working on literally the exact same plane, the exact same unit. So this is like year 9 now at this point on Herbert Field. And that's when I saw what I wasn't supposed to see, I guess, right? I was coming into my simulator job that night. It was 12:01. I was like pretty darn new. Unfortunately, I don't remember the exact date. That's my biggest pet peeve.
Hold on. I can't let you get in. I can't let you get into this yet. I can't let you get into it yet.
Go ahead.
Have you ever, now, in your childhood, is there anything?
Oh boy.
Is there anything in your childhood that stands out now, in hindsight, looking back, saying,
yes, maybe
everything wasn't as it seemed. Maybe it wasn't so cut and dry. Maybe there was more than meets the eye to the trajectory of my life.
Why are you reading my brain for?
Well, I tend to be able to do things like that.
I try not to tell people about this stuff because then they get woo-woo and they don't want to believe you.
That's okay.
But I've always said frequency and consciousness is like controlling everything. And I've always had like a strong spiritual connection. I've always had like weird ghost things that I don't want to acknowledge that like just happen. Like listening to women whisper to my kids on the baby monitor and like soothe them to sleep and hear my kids giggle. It's like, I can't ignore that if it's like at least once a week, you know what I mean? And then you
I'm sorry, ghostly
I mean, that's
women.
a long time ago. Yeah. So like, I've always had like guardian angels, you know, like my literal godmother died like when I was young, like a 12 or something. And I don't know. I just always had like a really strong spiritual connection with her. And if you understood my family, we had family reunions every year. We have this, everybody from everywhere comes there. And we have this massive, like 6 pallet high bonfire. We got the pools. We got like, so like once you start to learn, and this is going to sound crazy, but like bonfires is like in ceremonies and we're all playing music, good vibes. It's like a beacon of focusing for like energy and spiritualness and like just, you know, one with like literally we were all just, there's never a fight. It was always 100% good vibes. We're all like lowering our intuition with like beer and stuff to like, yeah, we would just blast like Rolling Stones music and, you know, play volleyball and all sorts of good stuff. Sorry, I'm probably rambling, but
No, you're not. You actually pointed this out in a conversation we had where it's almost like we forget that communal experience that has been something that our ancestors and their like there's a long, this is why churches are pointy, right? This is why the cathedrals, it seems like it's encapsulating
why your hands are in a praying,
right? Because
you're making yourself into an antenna to kind of radiate out to whatever your God is.
Bingo, Kyle. Bingo. So, did you ever think that your past led you to working on the exact type of stuff
I don't even want to
that
tell
would
you.
allow you
Too crazy
to ascertain more to what might have happened when you know, to this gift that you may possess or that we might all possess, probably all possess, but it's stronger, definitely stronger in some people. I think even guys like Dr. Gary Nolan have speculated that. Yeah. So
I didn't tell you about this. That's creepy, dude. I don't even want to tell you because it's creepy, but whatever. I don't care. It's the truth. And I only ever had one weird experience, like this kind of weird experience. I've had like spiritual stuff for a long time that I can verify through other people. Like, anyway, I'll just tell you. I was like 12-ish, and I was just chilling on my bed, and I was going to get up because I had to go pee. And as I was going to get up, there was a man sitting at the end of my bed that just came out of nowhere. But there was no fear whatsoever. It was immediately like, what the heck are you doing here? And he was like talking to me, but I don't remember his mouth moving. And he was like saying stuff to me, and I was completely calm, completely like okay with it. But I was just like, hang on, dude, I have to go pee. Like I remember saying that, or maybe saying it with my mind. And then I literally walked out my room and walked to this short hallway and then started to go pee in the bathroom. And about halfway through my piss, like the days, you know how you have like a really vivid dream sometimes, you wake up and your brain just like hurts and it's like,
yeah,
that started to like fade away. And mid pee, I'm like, I was just fucking talking to somebody in my room that's not there. I was like, what the hell? So I tried to rush my piss as fast as possible, which, you know, you can't really do. You're like, ah! And then I had to like, I ran downstairs and my parents were in the kitchen and I told them that. I was like, I just talked to somebody upstairs in my room. And like, they were like, pal, what the hell are you talking about? Like, and it was just dismissed. But then this is the messed up part. So there was no like crazy features. It wasn't like he had like a top hat or anything. It was the grossest. There's no way to say it without, he looked like me. I think it was me. He had no hair, but he wasn't bald. And he had a prominent mustache, but it wasn't like impressive. That's just what I remember. I don't remember glasses, but it was like my height, no threat whatsoever. And then he just wasn't there when I came back. And I was like, but I started to talk to AI about this, and it was like, if time is relevant, you could, in a sense, project yourself out and resonate so much that you resonate with your own frequency that you wouldn't be able to talk, but you could like sync your brains together and like kind of do that shit that it was explaining. It explains it way better than I could. But I was like, wait, don't tell me that shit. That's creepy. And I never told anybody about that because I was like, I'm pretty sure. So that was, oh, I'm sorry, I need to back up. The one thing I always said, I think it was an Italian guy. And I didn't know I was Italian. So this is spoiler alert for my family that doesn't know this.
Oh, God.
My dad, my last name is Knopp. My dad found out, I think when I was 31, so I'm 39 now, that he was an affair baby. And my grandfather is actually from Italy. And my last name should have been DiPiola.
Oh, wow.
And he was like a World War II like veteran that was like a band musician. And my grandma apparently saved a photo of him, and he's like the one of like 6 or 7 kids that happens to be the affair. They found out through 23andMe. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, wait, I'm Italian and not German at all. So the whole like me feeling like I saw an Italian guy before knowing I was Italian, like kind of.
That's so weird.
It was like a premonition almost in a weird way. So when I found out I was Italian, I was like, why does that make sense?
It almost validates it to a degree.
So that was my only creepy thing, and I try not to talk about it. How could I ever justify that?
Right. And you said you weren't speaking.
I've never seen anybody like a person or like that again or anything like that, you know? Any kind of aberration like that.
You said you felt comfortable in the presence of this.
Completely comfortable. Like being in the, not to say the presence of God, but just like your whole body is warm, like, oh, there's no scare, no fear. I just like, you almost don't want to leave. Like you can almost feel the bubble of warmth, like just like a resonance. I don't know how else to say it. Like, but I could feel like when you have those vivid dreams, that's what it felt like the brain fog was wearing off.
What if you did talk to yourself?
That's what I'm like. So maybe it was when I saw this UFO, it wasn't so overwhelming because I've already had one weird ass experience.
I'd probably wager that you've had more experiences than
spiritual stuff, but
I'm saying you've probably had more experiences than you even know about.
My father always has a dream after every single person in the family dies, like the night after, like, so like, and they'll come to him and be like, pass over, like, you know, tell them they're okay kind of stuff. So like, I've always had like, that kind of stuff. Like my dad, like I said, is a former NSA Air Force dude. He's literally postmaster for a long time. Like one of the most credible people in the world. He wouldn't just make something up. He doesn't like talking about it, obviously, because you know how it looks to people who have these experiences, they're like, absolutely, I understand exactly what you're talking about. One of the craziest stories, I'll tell you a little bit about him, but he was driving and one of his best friends who died, he appeared right next to him and he was like, but his name was Buddy. He's like, Buddy, what the hell are you doing here? You shouldn't be alive. You're dead, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if he was talking back to me. I'm sure you'd have to hear a story from him better. But long story short is he swerved off because he was talking to this guy into the left lane. And thank God he did, because there was a semi already coming and the wrong side of the lane on the thing. So he accidentally averted killing himself by talking to this ghost. And then right after that, he swerved back and the guy was gone. And I was like, Dad, do you realize he saved your life? And he was like, kind of hit him. And he was like, got teary eyed. And he was like, holy shit, I never thought about it like that. I was like, how'd you never think about that? And his name is Buddy. And he saved his life. I was like, come on now. So I've always had like these weird experiences like this. Like I got one about my cousin too.
And your dad was an NSA?
Well, it was Air Force. So he did the he did the SR-71 stuff, which Lockheed Martin makes. And part of that, he had an NSA cup. And I was like, Dad, how the fuck were you in the NSA? Sorry for swearing. And
fuck.
Yeah, he's telling me that part of that you work for the NSA, you know, like multi-division, like, because I'm, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, because
I work for SOCOM, so like if I had a SOCOM cup, you'd be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys always, you get put out on loaner too, right?
Yeah, all I know is he was in Japan.
You can be in the Air Force and go do a mission, go do a job with the NSA.
Yeah, you're whoever's like, the local thing.
Yeah. So that makes total sense. So But your dad was in these programs as well. He had a clearance.
Yeah, definitely. You have to have. I think he had top secret because he was dealing with SR-71.
The moral of what I'm trying to say here is everybody in the UFO world, they're begging for someone from inside one of these aerospace companies from wherever to come. Like we want so desperately these quote unquote whistleblowers, but it's almost like awakening to me to realize that people in Lockheed, people in the Space Force, people in the Air Force, they are having these experiences just all the same as civilians. And it's just they're in a situation where they don't feel that they can report it to anyone without losing what they've gained or built.
You're going to lose your entire pension. You're going to lose your credibility. You're going to lose your job. And all of us are busy just working, so we don't have a social media. So like if we tried to even say anything, the top dog people are going to see it and squash it and fire us before you could ever even say, hey, what's this about?
Right. So this creates that silo, this compartmentalization of information, even to the degree of not just like top secret, like that kind of compartmentalization, but compartmentalization of like even what someone will say to their superiors in terms of something they just observed on base. That like if you saw a Russian MiG, you'd fucking report it, right?
Yeah.
You'd report it, but you see a UFO and you're like, I can't say shit.
I feared who was going to hurt me. That's pretty much.
That is a terrible, terrible policy. So tell me about your cousin. So your dad, oh my God, that's a crazy fucking story.
So my cousin, she got like a new house or a new rental. And I guess long story short, there was two people breaking in through her basement and they were coming up through the basement and they saw an old woman at the top of the stairs and it scared them away. And they ran back out and then the police caught them. And the police asked them why they didn't go into the house and like ransack it. And they said the old woman on top of the stairs scared the shit out of them. And then they came and asked my cousin, hey, who's the old lady in the house? And they're like, there's no old lady in the house. It's just me and my husband. And then they realized that I think there was like an old lady that died in the house. And literally, essentially, I talked to AI again, and it was like it projected itself out to in the most, non-threatening way at the same time, but like scared. I don't know, use your imagination. It scared the people away. It worked. So I was like, yikes. I've always had like, this isn't my story, but it's somebody family related. Like another one was my same cousin on that family. He weirdly texted everybody, like, everybody be safe. I just feel like something's wrong today. And they went to the state fair. And like that year at the state fair, there were like two people that died from like a tornado. And tornadoes don't happen in New York. You know what I mean? So it was like, we've always had this weird premonition, spiritual connection. So I'm like, I don't talk about it, but like anybody that's exposed to it very much knows about it. They know it's real, that like you have synchronicities is what it is. Once you start to appreciate the world and harmonize with the world, you'll start to get messages back essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. Okay. So I want you to bring me back to Herbert Field. We did this already the other night, but this is the one that counts, right? I want to be able to close my eyes.
Oh boy.
And I want to be able to be right next to you in the car. No detail too small. Who you working for at the time? Start there. Walk me through exactly from you getting up for work to the moment it happens.
All right. Well, I said before, the first thing I remember walking out my door, it was just like one of those pitch black nights, like super dark. Like I was like, holy shit, it's really dark out.
Mm.
and I was running late because I'm a dirtbag. And I was like, I need to hurry up. So I finally I think I was living in Navarre, Florida, and I was going to Herbert Field. So I worked for Lockheed Martin at that simulator technician place that I was talking about. So it literally is right next to where I used to work. So I worked at the 15th AMU, which is Aircraft Maintenance Unit, and right around that bend of the flight line, like literally, if you look at the thing, there's a flight line coming down here, and I saw the UFO right here, and where I work is literally like right up here.
Okay.
So I worked right here for the longest time, never saw anything. So when I saw it right here, I'm like, was this intentional? So I'm coming around this part of the road, and I see three plasma. I hate saying plasma because like I have to tell you why. It looked like three burnt out orangish, like a hint of purple lights, but not really like projecting light. It was just a dim afterglow. That's why I say burnt out street
Hold
lights.
hold on.
It was a discharge. I can explain it all, but I'm going to give you my first interpretation of what I saw. You know what I mean? And
Well,
then
what alerted you to that this thing was there?
good point. Good point. Yeah, I almost missed that. I was driving and I was already 1 minute late. That's why I know exactly it was at 12:01. And I just literally was coming around. So, like I said, that bend of
Mm.
that spot, and it felt like somebody flicked right there. And like, but inside my head, outward. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So I looked up, and that's when I saw that triangle of in each corner, not touching the corner, but close to the corner, was an orangish plasma discharge glow. And the triangle itself was darker than the night sky. That's how I knew there was something there, because you could see like the glow was inside each corner, but not touching the corner.
Right.
It was so like the tip was facing the flight line. So like the curve, like I said, this tip was, that way. And I was like, why would it sit here? This is such a stupid spot. Like any plane coming and going is going to hit it. Like cars going in and out are going to see it. I don't know
Right.
if it just thought its visibility was greater than what it was, but I drove directly underneath it, which is why I'm thinking maybe I could see it better. So I never lost sight of those three plasma glows the entire time. So it was literally super, super, super slowly just turning. Like, but it never moved left, right, up, or down. It was just turning its tip. That's what creeped me the F out. So before that, I was like, Kyle, put your windows down. I said that out loud to myself, and I literally put my window down. I heard no bugs. So like right next to me on that bend of the road on the right side, there's woods, and there's usually like birds and crickets and stuff that are chirping. And there was nothing. I don't know if it was just because the night was one of those extra creepy dark nights, like I said. I don't know if the military knew it was going to be one of those nights and they purposely waited to do it, but it seemed like the UFO was sound dampening because all I could hear was the gravel crunching from my tires, and that's what like gave me the chills. So I'm watching it the whole time, and it's slowly turning, and I could see that it was a perfect equilateral triangle. I couldn't see up above it at all. I couldn't see any antennas. There was no thrusters, no like discharge, just the glow and then like darkness of night sky. It did seem like it was trying to project the stars through it, which I explained in some of my tech videos. But yeah, it looked like it was trying to, but since I was directly underneath it, maybe it didn't get it right, which is why I could see it. So then I was going around that bend, and I never lost sight of those glows, like I said. And then I was straightened out just to make sure I wasn't going to crash, and looked forward, and I looked back, and it was instantly gone. There was no streak, no sound, no nothing. And I was like, "What the fuck did I just see?" And I was literally like 6 seconds away from work at this point. Like, so I'm very much on base, literally about to pull into my work, and I'm already 1 minute late. And like I said before, I think I was like 27, and everybody I'm working with is like 50, 60 years old. I'm already late. Like, they're not going to want to hear that I
You're
just
the
saw
new
something
guy.
in the fucking sky. Like, so I didn't know what to do. I remember I sent like a cryptic email to myself on my Lockheed Martin email, just like the timestamp or something like that. And of course, I don't have access to that email anymore. Once you don't work for them, you lose it immediately. And I'm like, I wish I would have written it down somewhere. The only
Yeah.
The only thing I do remember, and I hate bringing it up just because it was like a tragic event, but like I remember the Las Vegas shooting happened sometime around then. So I think that was like October-ish, because I was in my supervisor's office a lot, and I had to be like, more trusted back then to be there. So I can scale it out like that way wise.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I don't know the exact date, but I did eventually end up reporting this all to Aero. So
right, and we'll definitely get there.
yeah,
When you have this, what you describe as like a flick coming from inside your head,
I forgot to tell you. You're right.
right? When you do, then you see the craft. Is there any emotional reaction? Is there any, because like, for instance, you talked about the gentleman at the bed, whether it was you or not. You had this wash of like no fear, nothing. Did anything like that occur when you made eye contact, or after the flick in the brain to look up? Like, is there anything that you can remember?
So I forgot to tell you because I mentioned to you yesterday. It felt like, how when you're a kid, you take a balloon and you rub it on your head, you get that static discharge, and you
Yes.
kind of slowly pull it away. You could kind of feel literally the electrical zap, especially with, I don't know if people are familiar with short hair, but you can really feel like zzz. That's what it felt like concentrated like that. That's why it felt like a flick, but like a flick and then a drag of a balloon. So it literally felt like my brain was either telling me to look up or something in my brain was like projecting out to that. I don't know. It just,
Right.
that sensation was from the inside out. That's why I was like, what the fuck was that?
Did
And
you
that's
have
what I,
any fear?
yes, that was the other part I was going to say though. So when I saw it, I immediately was thinking I shouldn't be seeing this. I shouldn't be seeing whatever this is. That's why I didn't pull over. I just kept maintaining the exact same speed. And I was just doing that the entire time. Because I was like, whatever I'm seeing, I don't think I'm supposed to be seeing. And if they wanted me to see it, they'll let me know, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I'm going to get killed if I say anything. Like, so I just maintained my speed and kept watching it. Like, but
Until
now
you
I always tell
did.
myself, like, if I ever see it again, I'm going to stop and shoot a gun
What?
at it or something, like,
Don't shoot a gun at it. My God.
well, I
Now,
mean, it's electrical magnetic field.
I
Shoot, protect the
understand. Don't
bullet.
just go discharging your weapon on it.
And then somebody will show up and then I'll get questioned and then answers, right? Probably not.
Yeah, unless you end up at Guantanamo.
Yeah, I'll get some kind of answer that way. I'm
But
just kidding.
what a lot of people claim that there is a craft in our arsenal that, from guys like, speaking of Lockheed, Ben Rich, famously, made the comment that we have the technology to take ET home.
Yep.
Other people like Tom DeLonge, who I know you have a history with, which is a really fascinating, which we'll also get into. They've speculated about this craft called TR-3B, the Astra or Dark Star or whatever you want to call it. Given your background in aviation, in secret, in that world, would you call this that craft? Whatever it is, TR-3B, whatever, was it that craft that's been depicted by many other people? And do you think it was human or do you think it was not human?
So that night, I ended up looking it all up. I
Oh,
didn't,
great.
if I would have like made it up in my brain, I would have made a saucer. Like I know for a fact because I didn't know that triangle UFOs was a thing. Like I know that sounds probably unbelievable, but like I don't follow, I don't, I like the tech and the idea of UFOs, but I don't follow all that kind of stuff like on purpose, like unless I know for a fact. So like I didn't know that like triangles was really a thing, but I started to look it up and I kept finding like TR-3B. I'm like, what the hell is the TR-3B? And then I'm like, why is that exactly what the hell I saw, except for the center thing that some people put in there? And I was like, I didn't see any center thing. I was like, maybe that center thing turns on when it goes away. I don't know. Maybe it's just a discharge. Now it seems like it's more like a discharge or a tractor beam or something. But I never saw the center thing. But sorry, what was your question? I have a coin in my hand, and I'm just like, can I just show you it? But I need to give so much backstory before that.
Do you think that this was human made, or, I mean, that could include reverse engineering, of course, but do you think it was human or non-human?
At the time or now?
Both.
I now.
What do you think? What do you think then versus now?
I thought it was probably human made, and I shouldn't be seeing what I was seeing. That's why I didn't stop, because I was like, this is some secret squirrel crap that I definitely shouldn't be witnessing right now.
Okay.
And
the flight line wasn't lit up, was it?
not any more than it normally is.
So it wasn't like they were doing some dark project.
No, not that I know of.
Okay. What do you think now?
Based off of the government's reactions and how everything's played out, I can almost guarantee it's ours.
Okay. And do you think that we've got it from
reverse engineering other things in the past? Or there's a lot of possibilities, but it does seem like it. I mean, like I said, I'm very much spiritual, so pretending like the spiritual part doesn't exist would be stupid of me. I can't say it's not UFOs, you know what I mean? I think originally we got something.
To you, it was a UFO, though. And you are very familiar with aviation and what flies and what doesn't.
And what should be on that base, like I said, because I was there for 9 years.
Right. So to you, this is a unidentified flying object.
And it made no sense why it would be there the way it was doing. It felt like, I originally felt like it was an intentional like awakening for me. And I was like, why am I seeing this here? This should not exist. There's no probable reason why this should be here. How is so many people not seeing this? How am I the only person? That's why I didn't want to report it. I was like, either this has to be the government's and I'm going to get myself notified and whacked, or this was for me and I should just shut up and not let anybody know anyway. Like,
right.
So I was like, I told my wife about it, but like, what is she going to do about it? You know, like,
right. Did you now?
My family believes me. Like, they have no reason. I'm not a person that just makes stuff up, you know?
Yeah, no, you don't come across as that type of person either. If I'm being quite honest. What did you ever report this to your superior? I mean, I know we've kind of hinted at it, but no. Did you ever report this up the chain?
Not when at Lockheed Martin. Hell no.
Not at Lockheed Martin. Did you? So when
that was so hard to even know who my supervisors were. That place was. I worked for like 3 different places in Lockheed Martin. Every place was drastically different than the last. Like,
is it true?
Card, everything. I'm like, what the heck?
Is it true what they say about Lockheed that it's like what?
I probably shouldn't say it. It depends where you go. Like I said, I had 3 different experiences. Some places they treat you like you're replaceable because you are. Other places you're treated like an expert. I had every single person in my simulator place walk up to me and shake my hand, and I was like, "Holy crap! I've never had this in my entire time in the military." Like, that was mind blowing to me. And then I went to work on the flight line stuff, and there was like, "You guys are trained professionals, but you're semi-replaceable." So we'd be like, "Surprise! You're gonna work 12-hour shifts today." And then if you go and like help out other places, you are definitely replaceable. And I would never want to do that because that would be so depressing. So it depends. Like, if you go to specific little niche spots, you could hate life. Or like I said, like I have literally like 3 different time cards for like 3 different jobs I worked at Lockheed Martin. I'm like, why would you not have one time card?
It's a very interesting point.
It was like 2 like, different login systems and everything. I was like, this is crazy.
Did you ever try to like, and I know this is going to sound, I don't even know, maybe even if you did, you should probably, I don't even know if you should answer this, but did you ever try to investigate what you saw through your access?
Did I tell you about this?
No.
Really? Holy crap. So
I'm good at what I do.
I have my Space Force email, and I've been using it. I looked up who has the patents for this thing that I saw, and shocker, you find Dr. Salvatore Paez.
Yes.
And I was like, let me see. Type his name into the Air Force email that I was just telling you about, which is, military email. And it pops up, Navy, Paez, Salvatore. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I could email this guy right now. So I emailed him my story of exactly what I saw. And he said, brother, that's not weird at all. Like, crazy times we're in. And then, without me asking, sent me the patents for the UFO. He sent me like 3 of his patents. And then I started to tell him like more about what I was really thinking. And so I was like, fuck it, let's go. I started talking to him, emailing him for a while. Eventually, I started getting so on the nose with like the videos I was making. I looked it up. The patent was actually denied originally because it was not believed to be real. And they had to go and get the director of the Navy at the time. So it was James Spearley or something like that. And he had to like personally be like, no, this is operable. So they already confirmed that the TR-3B patent works. Like the Navy actually went out of their way to say to the patent office that this is real. And I made a video like explaining this and sent it to Sal. And then he was like, we can no longer talk about anything that's not in the public eye based off of, it was like the USN command. So the United States Navy command told him that we're not allowed to talk about stuff that's not in the public eye. And I'm like, why would they even know that you're talking to me, Sal?
What the hell?
But at that point, I kind of stopped talking to him. But at the same time, I was emailing Dr. Hal Puthoff, and I'm sending him all my crazy fringe theories of like, hey, this work radar that I work at, I think is kind of like the pyramids. Let me explain to you how it works.
Can you, not to divert too much?
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, but I'm having all these conversations with doctors that I shouldn't be. I feel like they're getting back to me quickly.
You start reaching out to, I mean, both of those names, anyone in the UFO field worth their salt knows both of those names.
Supposedly they never met each other either. I was like,
yeah, supposedly.
I asked him. I literally asked them both in an email, and Dr. Hal Puthoff said, no, I've never met Sal.
Interesting.
And I was like, how the fuck have you never met each other? That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm believing that one. But okay. So you did a little bit of investigation into what you saw.
Yeah. I started messaging all sorts of people for very many months. I messaged Dr. Gary Nolan because he was supposedly asking about all sorts of, we can go into that. I don't know. So I don't want to take you over. But he was asking for people that have RF experience or pilots, aka RF experience, or have seen something. And I'm like, guy, I work at the radar station. I'm like the most RF exposed. I've seen something. Could you please stop ignoring me? I still work for the military. Like, I emailed his whole team, and I've never gotten a single response back by any of them. I'm like, this is sad. I guess they already know what they need to know, so I'm useless to them.
I wouldn't go that far.
Seems like everybody's like 6 steps ahead of the truth of what they're telling everybody.
That's the point where I'll agree with you. I will agree with you there, because I think half of these guys, like the Hal Puthoffs, the Gary Nolans, the
gatekeepers.
Yes, the Elizondos, I think that they are double dipping, essentially. They are not pretending. I'm sure they do want disclosure of some sort, but their allegiance is to the United States government, period. Because that's who pays them. That's who's given them everything. Their allegiance. I mean, how you could argue his allegiance might be Scientology. I don't know. But fucking weird.
I have heard those rumors.
Yeah, it's not a rumor.
like tippy top of the thing. Like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not something that you can just ignore. That's like you had a commitment.
Ingo Swann was literally a double agent for Scientology. His allegiance was not to the US government, it was to Scientology. And this is one of the most prominent, if not the most prominent, remote viewer of the SRI program. The whole thing built around this guy, and he's double agent. He's reporting back, of course, to the US government, but he's also reporting back to Scientology. So, I mean,
yeah, that's a whole nother.
it is a can of worms. But then you start looking at the theology of Scientology and you start asking real questions.
Yeah, there's something.
There's something. I think they're a bunch of lunatics, but there's something.
I think it's spiritual and energy.
Much more spiritual. Much more spiritual.
Scapegoats, protocol stuff. I didn't realize scapegoat was a real thing. And I was like, wait, what? It's not just a term. You literally are putting your evil intentions inside something and purposely killing it to get rid of your sins. That's crazy. And then you realize that celebrities are openly bragging about doing this with like chickens and stuff. And you're like, wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So you're literally escaping karma by putting your bad stuff into something innocent and killing it. And then you start to look into Epstein's stuff and child stuff. And you're like, innocent.
Well, look what they did with, what did Jesus do? And I hate to bring this to religion, but where did Jesus cast the demons into?
Hell, I guess, right? I was like, is this a trick question?
No, the pigs.
Oh boy. I don't know that one.
You don't know this?
No.
So I think it was Jesus. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have my producer with me. Jamie, look at. I'm just kidding. I don't have a Jamie right now.
I was about to say that's ironic.
Jamie, pull it up.
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Pull that shit up. No, but there's a story. I can't. Oh God, it's gonna. But they cast the demons into the pigs to subvert the evil.
Scapegoat.
And then we look at things like the men who stare at goats, right? There is a, I mean, that is a very side tangent, but, okay. So you see the craft, you've always had this like innate ability, the spiritual tap in, if you will. Did anything change for you after the UFO sighting? Did anything ratchet up? Did anything, did
curiosity? I like just my curiosity really, and then the way that like everybody kept answering was like, I know that's not true. So I was like, I need to find the answers. Like, there's no way how to say it, but like I'm really autistic basically, and I need to find the answers. Like that's my job. Like I was, comm nav. So, and I worked there for 9 years. So I just saw something that blew my mind. I need answers. Like, and then I started to find them, and it's just like, you start to just find literally the breadcrumbs and you start to put them all together and you're like, oh, this is making something that I can actually like track. And then you ask somebody about it and they're like pretending like it doesn't exist. And you're like, but I have the entire bread loaf right here. I can tell you probably where the factory that made it is at. Do you want that?
Have you heard the comment from Gary Nolan that he said that like, you'd be surprised at where these things are held?
What, you mean deep underground or in the water?
No.
Surprising.
Like right in plain sight.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Right in plain sight under very minimal security.
You don't need much.
Anyway, yeah. So when do you get involved with briefing Arrow on your case?
I don't know the exact date. I think it was a couple years later. Like, I have to look it up. But I waited a few years because I wasn't really wanting to get noticed for it, to be honest. But then I kept seeing more and more UFO documentaries come out, and people show the TR-3B, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? This is really a thing? Like, this is creepy. And then I'd watch people be like, well, we don't really have any eyewitnesses or any military people, or I'm like, that's not true. So I'm like, well, and then
Not only are you military, but you're also the exact type of military that we need,
a trained
and
observer.
a trained observer who also worked with Space Force and Lockheed Martin. Why do you think that no one wants to give you the time of day?
I'd like to tell myself that they're busy and I'm a nobody.
Stop
But
saying that.
but that's why I was like, I had to start speaking up, because I was watching these people come on the news and they'd have no experience in electronics, they have no experience in like the tech, they have no military background. They're literally like experts of something completely unrelated, and they're talking about it like they know facts. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I need to actually say something to somebody. So that's the AI, the military AI, they announced it. And that's when I was like, well, let me tell my story to the AI. And then I told my story to the AI that the military has. And it was like, Kyle, if this is true, you should tell everybody, tell all the senators. So I made a video I made a script with the AI. And that's when I made my little video and tried to send it out to like every senator, tried to like tag them, message them, email them. I think I even did some like there's federal agency help things. Like you can click on a specific thing on the websites that say like I'm a federal agent asking for help, because I am technically. And like it's supposed to, notify these people. I did this like a year ago, like 6 months ago at least, and I have never gotten a single message from anybody ever. And it is mind blowing to me, because I'll tag people and stuff all the time. Like Matt Gaetz, like back when he used to be my representative, he was actually my actual rep, and I can't get him to look at anything. He keeps being like, UFO this, UFO that. And I'm like, dude, I literally live in your fucking district, and I've been tagging you in things. I'm like, your only comment in your stuff. Why are you still ignoring me? Like, there's no way you haven't seen me.
And you were at Eglin when he came.
Met him. He literally came to my work, came into my secure area of where I work at my radar facility, did a little tour, and like, thank you for your service. Didn't acknowledge the civilians that work there, and then dipped out. But I'm like, guy, could you please just stop ignoring me? And then
one person,
she's from Florida also. I'm like, you are asking for people from Florida. Could you maybe check your inbox?
check your inbox. I love it. Luna, do me a favor. Look into this, please. One person did connect with you, and that gentleman was named Lou Elizondo.
Oh boy, yeah.
Can you tell me and walk me through how this relationship started and where it went? You don't have to get too deep, but
I can if you want.
Yeah, just tell me how does Lou come into the picture of this?
So this used to be my old unit right here. It still is. They just changed the logo. It's I work at Eglin Site C6. It's the world's largest phased array radar in the world. So it doesn't have any moving parts. So it's moved by like subtle shifts of frequency and amplitude. Like if you're dropping a little ripples of water and changing how it moves, that's how this works. It's literally, this was supposed to be a coin for Lou Elizondo. I was going to give it to him and lots of other things. The shirt was actually his. That's why it's too big for me. Because it's extra large. So the 50th anniversary of my work was going to happen. This building was built in the 60s to detect nukes from Russia. And now it's made to track the 23,000 objects that orbit Earth at 17,500 miles an hour. So like every 90 minutes, the International Space Station goes by. So we're like tasked with tracking all these objects. So
near Earth objects and the space station?
Yeah, and a little bit farther out. So like all these are like satellite numbers and stuff you could like.
Oh, wow.
And, like, so like I got like awards from the Space Force, and like on the side.
Hey, well, if he doesn't want them, I'll take them.
There's like little numbers and stuff. But so I invited him out to the 50th anniversary, and my commander was like, you can invite anybody out here. And I was like, bet. So I invited all up to the stars out.
Yeah, let's real quick. To the stars was something that you saw form, and you go, okay, this might be my angle. This might be my avenue to being able to get this story out.
I was like, I can finally have people I know I can contact now. Like, and I started looking all these people up, and I was having my mind blown. So that's why I started talking to.
I mean, Steve
Hal
Justice, Kip Thorne, right?
all these people,
Hal
yeah.
Puthoff.
That's why I was like, oh, I know who Hal Puthoff is, and I started looking into him, and I find him more and more and more. All
It's
of my
like a match
original
made in
stuff.
heaven for you. You're like, oh my God, look at this. It's perfect.
I used to joke because I would message Hal Puthoff on LinkedIn, and I would say, watch, within less than 2 hours, he's going to message me back. And it would blow my mind because he would. And I'm like, why is he even messaging me? That's crazy. He has to have so much to do. Why the F is he messaging me back? I was like, that's so humbling and flattering. But I was like, I'm not providing anything, I feel like. So that's weird. But so I invited To the Stars out, and there were, I think, 4 people that were going to come out, including like Lou, Hal, I think it was Steve Justice, and I can't remember the last one. Maybe Chris Mellon. That's how I started messaging Chris Mellon also, and he told me to talk to some other TR-3B guy, and that was about it. But sorry, I'm jumping around, but so my commander was like, you can invite anybody, and then it switched to you can invite, I think, 4 people. So that's why I was inviting these 4, and then it switched to you can invite 1 person per people. So now I had to find 3 more people that I work with to bring the people. I'm like, and you have to escort them the entire time, so you can't lose sight of them. So I'm like, what celebrity wants to be constantly watched by a nobody? And like, I didn't want to like.
They're not just celebrity; they're military. Most of
Yeah,
them.
that's what. So they said they wanted to just be a fly on the wall and just observe it, because it was the whole point is everybody's invited. So like they're already having like more clearance than they even need to be to come here. So eventually my commander reached out to public affairs, the PA, and the PA came back and was like, no, you can't have them here. And I was like, I'm not gonna invite 1 person. That's weird and insulting to them.
So hold on.
It went from the whole invite, basically.
It went from, hey, we want everybody here.
Everybody is supposed to come to the 50th anniversary.
The room.
Yeah, we want to celebrate the fact that anybody wants to come in.
And then you go, and then you go, okay, here, I got 4 guys. One's
the escorting rules kept changing.
One's Tom DeLonge, one's Elizondo, and
they forced me to give them a bio so they could read who these people were. Like, what the fuck? You didn't do that for anybody else. I shouldn't even told them it was a celebrity. I should have just invited them as normal people. They would have said anything. But I wanted to be respectful, like, because there's no way I can't bring Tom DeLonge into the building and people aren't going to be like, holy shit, is that Tom DeLonge?
Like, yeah, right.
He's doing the whole ceremony, and it's not supposed to be about them. It's supposed to be about like the 50th anniversary. So I'm like, I was trying to do the respectful thing, and because it was, that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, you could argue that was the mentality, was that we don't want to make it about Tom. We want this to be about that. But I still think that's them hiding under the cover of.
They didn't want anything related to that.
Exactly. And I think, this is my opinion, I think that even though you didn't tell anyone on base, or maybe you did tell someone on base,
not like that. They wouldn't have known.
I think they knew what you saw.
Which leads us to what Lou Elizondo sent me. When I couldn't invite them out, I canceled just for respect reasons, because I didn't want to do that to them. Lou sent me a goodie package. I don't even know. It was just like out of nowhere. I'd have to show you the picture because I don't have all the items anymore. So like they can see it afterwards or whatever. But I have a handwritten letter.
I'll put it in post if you have.
From Lou Elizondo. I don't want to read because I'm terrible, but
I will. Kyle, as always, thanks for all that you do for us and our country. You are our hero! ! Please give your lovely family. Your hand is covering that. Lovely family a hug from us here at TTSA. Hope all is well. Until next time, best, Lou.
Yeah. So that's interesting, right? And
you are our hero.
That's why I was like, why the fuck did he put that? That's weird. And then I was like,
You
maybe just
are
because I'm
not.
tracking stuff in space. So I was like, that's interesting. Weird choice of words.
That is a weird choice of
So at this
words.
point, he was already like texting friends, even with my wife. That's why he said you have a lovely family.
Wow. So
Like that's
it's
how involved we were in this crap. I
so
texted him for 5 years, dude,
it's
until
safe
I
to say
realized.
that you and Elizondo were openly communicating, and you were openly like you looked up to him and to some
Yeah,
degree,
yeah. Well, I mean,
right?
I thought he was Mr. Disclosure. I thought he was actually giving a shit. I thought when I tell him something, he would actually care. And then one time I finally texted him my UFO story, and he sent like the most cryptic, "Don't worry about it. The next administration is going to take care of it." I'm like, you didn't even ask me a single detail about what I saw or anything. Like, what a weird. He said something like, I have to show you the text, but it was like, we have friends in the next administration. I'm like, what does friends mean? Is that alien friends? Is that like just the next administration? But
Wait,
anyway,
but hold
I
on,
should,
hold on,
I
hold
should
on.
probably go back and talk about this
Wait,
before.
hold on, real quick though. When he said that, was it the Biden? Was Biden in
Yeah,
office and Trump was coming
yeah,
in next?
yeah. He said that
Okay.
this administration effed up real bad, and the next one. So that's why I was like, okay. But I was like, what is friends though? Because he acknowledged the next administration was going to fix it. You have to read the text. I don't want to like get my quote wrong because it's literally out there. Like I can just read it. And yeah, he just was like super dismissive, but like, don't worry about it. It's going to be taken care of. So like very much playing some 5D. Like I'm one of the most trusted, trained observers. You've known me for 5 years and you don't care to ask me a single thing about what I saw. That means that's ours as far as I'm concerned. And you know, it's ours. And like use your imagination. Like, why aren't you asking me anything? You must already
Uh,
know what it is and you're doing something else. And that's why I've been calling Lou out for being a liar, because it's like, and then
do
when
you
you said,
think that he was part of a legacy UFO program?
absolutely, that was the first words out of his mouth when I talked to him on the phone was, I'm a counterintelligence CIA agent. And he was bonding with me about all his prior military experience. And I was like, holy shit, that's pretty badass. So I was like, you're literally like a CIA agent? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, that's fucking crazy. I'm like, literally, I have his personal cell phone number, like calling him, like I could text him. Like I literally texted him for 5 years. My wife was texting. That's what the craziest part was. So people are like, you don't even know Lou. I'm like, I just stopped talking to Lou because I realized nothing was coming out of it. It's not like I couldn't call him right now. I'm sure that number still works.
I know he hasn't changed it, so
Good.
it definitely still works. But yeah, you have a coin that was part of that letter. That again, let's preference this for the audience. They had no idea what you saw at
Didn't tell
this
anybody.
time.
I don't think I digitally wrote it anywhere.
You communicated
Besides
with
just,
ETA, but you never said, "Hey, guys, I had a UFO experience."
nope, not at all.
You
Because I
were
didn't
just
want
like,
them.
I'm a radar, I'm an RF expert. I work for Lockheed. I was in the Air Force. I
Well, at the time I was Space Force, so I
so
was,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
The
So I was,
dates.
I was celebrating the 50th anniversary. That was the whole point. I was
Sorry,
just,
yeah, that was my fault.
you good. Just left Lockheed Martin, so
But you had worked, but nonetheless, you have this impeccable resume. The friendship was built in that resume, not on the UFO sighting.
yeah, probably.
Okay, no, definitely. Right?
Yeah.
Um, so then you
I
get
think I
this.
used my work email too because the commander said I can invite anybody. So I was like, well, let's send an email. I think
A
it was my
proper
government email
invite.
to the stars. So I used the header and everything that they gave me to use. And
So you get a little bag in the mail with that letter in it. Then there's something else in there that kind of takes you aback a bit.
kind of blows my mind, you mean?
Yeah.
So I'll start with the more subtle side. I don't know if I gotta zoom my camera in for a second and then
Yeah. I'll also show a picture because you sent me a picture.
where's
But
this spot?
right there, right there, right there. So we got Petruvian Man with the NASA swoosh.
Got my hand shaking. And
Petru-
there's a white star for some reason at the top. It talks about military.
One white star. Interesting.
There's like,
And I never noticed that detail before.
yeah, the rest are blue. And
Interesting.
then the words are on the corner are like military. I can't read it because it's backwards on my screen.
Are those, hold on, are those stars in the background, but
Yeah.
they're made to look like crosses?
Yeah, I see that too. I didn't really think about that. You're right. Definitely little stars, the crosses.
Interesting
On
detail
purpose.
there.
That's what I was saying to you yesterday. I'm like, that's, you know how much it costs to like get these little details into a coin, like to change colors, to like change the minting stuff. It costs quite
And
a bit
then
of freaking
secret
money.
machine on the top,
Spelled with a K.
like Tom DeLonge, yeah. And
All
Peter
right.
Lavenda.
You ready for the other side yet?
Yes. The other side is truly mind-boggling. I fucking A, man. What the fuck?
Why did he send me the exact UFO that I saw?
And the Tree of Life, Mithril from the Norse mythology, and then the Unity.
And the JFK quote around the edge. And if you notice, there's also the line coming out of Earth. So I'm like, so you're telling me that it's ours?
And the pyramidic structure, again, because, again, triangular craft, right? But when you put them on a 2D surface, they look like the front of a pyramid.
That's literally what I saw because I was underneath it. I just didn't see that center thing.
Right.
So seeing an exact coin of what I saw from getting it from Lou and not telling the motherfucker, you know how mind blowing that is?
What continent is that?
That's what I was like. Is it the water or is it land?
Yeah, I think the silver is land and the blue is water. But what continent is that? That's weird. That is a mind bog. So all of a sudden, the TR-3B or the triangular craft that you saw is on a coin that you get sent without having given them the information that you had seen.
Lou Elizondo, like what? That's why I'm like, this should be news already by itself. That's like some 5D type crap. What are you doing to me, Lou? Yeah.
What do you make of that, my friend?
I tried to look it up online and I couldn't find anybody else that has one. And I'm like, what is this? Is this some secret society coin that I shouldn't be showing people or what?
Well, the cat's out of the bag on that one.
Whoopsies.
No, give me your visceral.
I have no idea.
Give me your yeah, I know, but I know you have some idea. You have some.
AI was joking, and it was, well, not really be joking, but it was like maybe this is
Yeah,
like a
please,
receiver of some type.
Stop talking about AI like it's a fucking person, please. Calling it he.
I didn't say he. I said it.
No, we can run the fucking tape back. You said he.
Shit. No, it was a she. First of all, it named itself. The one I was using, but it was. It's stupid. I don't even want to say it. It was saying basically this is like a receiver, like a phone. So like you give it to people, and then that way you can keep tabs on them forever. Because it's kind of like, I don't know how you do it, but you'd like charge it. You know, like not necessarily like there's a recording device inside it, but
no.
Supposedly it's a way to like keep tabs of people with like items.
The talisman.
Suggesting, yeah.
The talisman.
There's all sorts of woo-woo crap. I don't know. That's what it was saying.
But also, say you charged it, right? Say you used. Have you ever heard of T. Townsend Brown?
The name sounds familiar, yes, but I don't know his backstory.
You don't know who T. Townsend Brown is?
I probably made a video on him, and I have so much that comes in and out of my brain that I.
Well, know, back when like scientists and shit were saying the G
Townsend Brown. Yeah.
Townsend Brown, yeah.
I just remember.
So he had the idea. So and a lot of people still think this is true. And you probably didn't have a need to know about this, but how the B2 was named potentially after the Byfield Brown effect, which is positively charging one side and negatively charging another, so that
Brown effect, yeah. I actually made some videos on that. I was using my A that you don't like me talking about.
What if it's not that I don't like you talking? I was just joking. But what if that coin is using some sort of similar technology? And I know that sounds fucking asinine, but where one side's charged to it 1 degree, one side's charged to another, right?
Quantum.
You get right. It's quantumly charged. And then a remote viewer, because by the way, people forget that Lou is and claims to be a remote viewer. So therefore, if he had contact with that coin, gives it to him, gives it to Kyle, that is something that he can then hone in on
Like a beacon, like a little
like
antenna.
a beacon.
It's like an antenna next to me, so now he can focus in on the antenna and then pick up my presence easier, supposedly.
It's like this. It's like, okay, I'm in a plane. I get shot down over Iran, right? And I send up or actually, you know what? I won't use such a fresh reference, but when they use lasers and like invisible to the eye lasers to target a building, and then the how does that work? Can you tell me?
Well, infrared.
Yeah. So what is it? They hit it with infrared, and then the infrared beam
just triangulates a position. I'm sure
triangulates the position for the bomber to come in and then hit it, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I don't deal with bombers. Mine was a cargo plane, but yeah.
But you're familiar.
It's all trajectory. You just need
But that infrared is invisible to the eye. However, they can target, they can beam and say, hit it here.
Stuff that's invisible.
Yeah. And we know
these.
Now we're getting into now we'll get into more of the speculative territory, like to end the show. But I want to hear more about this Lou, Tom DeLonge. I mean, he was giving you backstage passes.
I figured I'd ask. I figured since you were texting so much, let me ask a favor. And
so you tested the friendship. He did come through.
I was kind of shocked, so I was like, hell yeah.
Why do you think that you might have been susceptible to what I call the UFO fanboy syndrome? Where you looked at Elizondo like a celebrity.
I did. That's why I was purposely I never talked about UFO stuff on purpose with him. I tried to just be human.
You should have been looking at him like a colleague. You understand that, right?
I was just like, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Like, congratulations on Joe Rogan podcast. Like
you and him are equals as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, he talked to me like we were. Like I said, he talked to my wife. Like he sent me, I knew his dog's names. My kids were making him artwork. He was showing me the antique vehicles that he was repairing. He told me to come out to his place and go shooting and like do all that stuff. Like he was genuinely a really nice person. That's why
his place in Wyoming.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's Wyoming. Next to Devil's Tower.
He showed me like just a bunch of cool stuff. That's all. I don't remember the exact location, but it was like you said. He was always nice, and then he just kind of strung me along for so long.
You know, that's not a story that.
There's a lot of people like that. These strangers purposely meets them that are like federal agents that have been just as 20 years in the field, most trusted. He'll purposely take a picture with them, tell them he's gonna hook them up with the right person eventually, and then they never hear from them again.
Yep.
And you're like, this guy is 8 times more qualified than the person speaking in the news. Why the fuck did we not even know about this guy? Exactly. Oh, because Lou Elizondo? Oh, that's why I stopped being his bestie. I could literally call him right now. Like I'm sure he'll ignore me, but you know what I mean? Like,
what do you make of Arrow and your experience with Arrow?
Oh, I didn't even get to tell you about that. That was ridiculous. Immediately I
walk me through it.
So immediately right off the bat, I knew it was just tell us what you know, because that's literally what he said. So I got like a phone call beforehand, and it was like, we're going to call you. You're going to have to click this thing, and it's going to be secure, and we're going to talk. They didn't give me any of that shit. So they just literally straight called me. I was like, what? If I'm about to tell you classified stuff, I'm literally saying it over the phone right now, and you're okay with this? Like, that was weird right off the bat. They didn't care about that. Then they asked me, what do you know? Like, tell us what you saw. And I was like, what? So I was telling him exactly. And then I told them to look into Dr. Salvador Paez. Like I literally told him that. And he didn't acknowledge it. And then I said, he works for the Space Force now, right? And he's like, oh, I didn't know he works for the Space Force now. I was like, so you do know who the fuck he is what I wanted to say, but I didn't say that part. So I'm like, I caught him in like yeah, we know who Dr. Salvatore Paez is. So why are you asking me about the TR-3B when you know the guy already who has the patents for it? Like, that was crazy to me. And then it was very much like, tell us what you saw so we can erase it, basically. And then he encouraged me to make a video.
Who's he?
Dr. Kirkpatrick. So at the time, I didn't care what his name was. I just remember it was with a K. And yeah, and then hindsight, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, Kirkpatrick. Oh, that guy's in the news. Hey, I got a story about that guy. So it was him and like a staff sergeant. The staff sergeant was basically like the secretary that wrote the crap down. And that was all it was on the phone.
And but you went through the entire story just like you did with us today.
But he didn't ask questions at all. It was like, I forget the exact time. I'm sure there's a video out there that says exactly like 15 minutes or something like that.
So he just let you bounce around and
didn't ask me any meaningful questions at all whatsoever. He said, why do you think it's called the TR-3B? And I said, well, I'm assuming tactical reconnaissance, the 3 maybe because there's 3 thrusters, and the B because it's the second version. And you could just hear him like go quiet. And I was like, did I just fucking say something I wasn't supposed to? Like, and then he just didn't.
Wasn't there like a TR-3A?
Supposedly, yeah, the Astra.
I think
and then the B was like, I think the B is one I saw. So like the one I saw, like
I think it stands for Byfield Brown.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different ones. So I didn't, like I said, I never saw anything in the center. There was no antennas, nothing like that.
I think what do you think? Well, you said you think it runs off of electromagnetism to some degree.
Yeah. Once I looked it all up, that's what Dr. Salvatore Paez is sending me all this stuff. It's MHD thrusters. Like,
fair enough. It's not you saying this, but this is
actual government patents that I'm reading and then running through AI, and with my expertise in electronics, just my understanding of it, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. And what I saw is definitely this. And Dr. Salvatore Paez always sends you very cryptic, I can't tell you the whole picture emails, but he'll tell you like he's dealing with like, I can't even use the words. It's like tardigens or one of those like 70s shows, like basically calling like the people he works with like dumb people.
Tardigrades?
Yeah, that, whatever. I'm like, I don't even know what these references are, but he sends
those
you
are
like
the little things that live in, they can survive in space.
Oh, no, yeah, I know that one then. He's talking about something different then. He just sends really like, he knows more than what he can say. I think somebody took his stuff and then made something out of it and then just didn't tell him about it. And he probably learned about it and he can't really talk about it, obviously.
Yeah. So you testified to Arrow. Does anything come out of this?
They email me and say, can you send us the exact GPS coordinates of where it was? And I was like, I just told you exactly where it was. But I sent him a screenshot of on base, that little round spot that I was talking about. So that was the other thing. When I was driving an SUV, and the triangle craft was only about like maybe 2.5 times the size of my car. It wasn't that huge at all. Like 2 cars worth. And it was at tree height level. So like the trees aren't that high in Florida. Like if I got out of my car, I literally could have hit it with a rock. It would have been like,
so this thing is top level, making no noise.
Yeah.
And slowly oscillating, locked.
How I like tell other people, it's like, how you turn on a air hockey table and it just kind of floats.
Yes.
How like the puck might just start to turn by itself. Not that somebody did that. It's just the last little command that was.
That's such a good way to.
So yeah, that's literally what it was like. It was perfectly synced at the height and just turning. I was like, what in the fuck?
So it seems like it's locking itself
in its own little geometric bubble bullshit.
Right, but it's also accounting for the spin of the Earth.
Somehow it wasn't going up or down at all.
Yeah,
just boop.
Because a lot of people don't know this, but the Earth is. We're spinning right now.
17,500 miles an hour. That's what I was telling you about. That's why every 90 minutes the International Space Station goes by.
So when you hover, that's like when a drone goes up and hovers, and it's bouncing a little bit up and down because it's consistently reconfiguring its GPS to lock itself in that position. This thing, you're saying, is locked, not even a wobble from it, except it's turning.
In my other video, I say it's like somebody stabbed it with a stick and then it just didn't move and just it was turning on that stick.
Very interesting detail.
And I can tell you like axes and stuff like that, but nobody wants to hear all the fancy words.
Well, how? And you said it was devoid of sound. It wasn't just that there was no sound; it was the clear absence.
I had my window down, and there was nothing but my tires and the gravel.
God, man, that's
it was like that's chills kind of shit. Like, yeah, especially being an aircraft mechanic. Like, dude, I've seen all of the stuff on base. I've seen the secret stuff on base that you're not supposed to like mess with because sometimes they need help or sometimes they have like an emergency landing, and it's never like that secret. It's just like what's inside it. You're not really supposed to know about.
Yeah, it's means
like,
methods.
There's no damn fucking triangle floating in the sky that I could hit a rock with. Like, it wasn't some like far away. Like I said, I had never lost sight of those 3 glows the entire time until it was gone, which is like why I wonder. I'm like, what does that mean with that center crap? That's gonna take forever to focus again. But so I tried to ignore it, and then that's why I kept seeing on the news more TR-3B crap. Kind of sucks.
Right, and then I mean, DeLong even made a whole little segment with Rogan about watching those videos of the TR-3B. Even though I don't know if those videos are real, you know, he did like that was a big proponent to what he was talking to Joe about. Was this idea of this craft, this triangular craft. So I guess I gotta ask, is there any chance that what you saw was not actually real? From the flick in your head.
I would say that's a lot to ignore.
Right. No, not to ignore, but could that be? And there's a reason I'm asking this.
Made up in my head. That's why I was like, I didn't know triangle ones were even a thing.
Right, but if you've heard of directed energy.
Yeah, I get that maybe they could have projected that bullshit into my head, but what the hell would be the gain of me ratting out my own government?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is there any chance? Have you been down this rabbit hole where you have thought about
weapons? Yeah, I know.
Well, not specifically, but you know how we have the technology to essentially affect someone's perceptive reality. Do you think that this is something that could have been done to you as some sort of way to discredit you later on?
No, why would they? That'd be my only thing. I don't have anything else. It's not like I'm, I still work. I still have my job. There's nothing to discredit me. I definitely saw something I shouldn't have seen.
Well, I'm not asking because I think that that's true. I'm asking because if I don't, someone else is going to say, well, what if this was, It
was very clear to me. That's what I want people to understand. Like, it wasn't like something in the distance. It was literally, it's just what I could see was so dark. And then the glows were they were always there. Like I said, like they had an orangish, purplish glow. That's why the purplish, I was like,
orange, purple?
The purplish part is what let me know by the time I got to my work, I was like, I'm pretty sure that was plasma. Because, you mess with those little lights that you put your hand on and you see like the little, and I'm like, oh, plasma, pretty cool. So
now, what do you know about plasma physics?
Nothing officially, but like I've been doing all this research for like 9 months now. So
what have you
kind of my autistic obsession. I have so many videos that explain all this crap now.
What have you gleaned from what you've looked into? Is that are you confident that what you saw at each protrusion of the triangle, at each point, not flush with the points, but a little bit back?
Yep.
Are you convinced, or is that your best guess? Is that these are some sort of, because I've always, like I said, I think I told you this. I've always had this big issue that UFOs and technology that is leaps and bounds from where we actually are in the public sector, that they would need headlights.
Yeah, it was not a light. It was not a light at all. I know we talked about this yesterday, but it was definitely a discharge. It was an aftermath. Like I said, it was. That's the only reason I say burnt down street light, because the burnt down street light it has providing no light. It's just like that dim orangish glow that like it kind of flickered, but it wasn't flickering. It was just really dim orange glow with like the edges were like a purplish tint. And you're like, what the fuck? So I could see like it was like three, like exactly like that, like three little balls almost, but they weren't. I couldn't see like the roundness to it, but you could kind of see like almost the discharge of the flatness of it coming out.
Right.
And I was wondering if each one of those corners was discharging, because you could see like, you know how it wasn't like a heat discharge, but like almost. So I was kind of thinking maybe if each one of those corners was discharging, it might be blocking out that center thing for me seeing it. And maybe it explains why I never saw that center thing. I don't know if it's a standard thing, but I was underneath it. So I was like, maybe once it activates something that, I mean, supposedly the B-felt brown effect, it ionizes the entire surrounding air, and then that plasma sheath bubble activates, and then, you know, it can traverse the universe, allegedly.
Right. Again, you don't need headlights for that.
Yeah, it's just a discharge. It's not a light. It's a default. Or like
it's a functionality.
deficit,
Either it's either a circumstance or a byproduct.
Yeah, that's the word. Byproduct I was looking for.
Yeah, it's a byproduct of the propulsion system or some other cloaking mechanism or whatever.
Once you start to look into it, there's 3 thrusters in each corner, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
That fit from a physics standpoint. You say that makes sense.
Yeah, and then like just the whole. It shows you like the layout of the craft. It shows you like you need 3 I'm gonna butcher MHD thrusters, but essentially you're just using a shit ton of electricity to ionize things into. I'm gonna butcher it, but this is why I use AI to make videos, because it makes it so much better than I could possibly say. But it's all to do with electricity, and then putting that electricity into the skin of the aircraft to manipulate the environment.
Okay. And
you can do that with electromagnetic skin. So like you can see how that one kind of looks like snake skin. I'm not saying that's real or not, but like each one of those panels would be basically like a camera above it, and it would reflect that down below. So if somebody was underneath it, it would look like the night sky to them.
Right. It would essentially act as.
And like these are all patented things. Like they already.
I was going to say, you explain this to me. Can you explain that? And also, have you ever heard of foglets?
Foglets? I don't know. Off the top of my head, no.
I'd implore you to look into the technology foglets. But can you explain the cloaking mechanism, the snake skin, the camera, how that would work? Because the way you explained it was it was really eye-opening to me, because it's almost like a chameleon, right?
Yeah.
It's acting, it's reproducing its surroundings.
It's not just me making it up. It's a patented technology.
Right. So can you explain that?
Essentially, there's multiple cameras, and it's just looking out in multiple different areas, and then it's projecting what you should see based off of what those cameras. So you wouldn't see it. It's just passing through. It's literally like seeing a camera right above it. So you're literally seeing exactly what is above it, because it's showing you what is above it.
But I would say that it's more like a reverse projector.
Yeah. And so it's
right?
Like actively
it's projecting its surroundings back to you. And
they charge the skin of the aircraft, and the whole time it's charged anyway. So like the aircraft is multiple really thin layers, supposedly, of like bismuth and
atomically layered bismuth.
Yeah, and one reflects the RF, and the other one like amplifies it, so that the RF just goes in between each of these waveguides, is what it is, and then the whole entire craft is like electrically charged, and you can manipulate it in all sorts of different ways, because it's just like multiple layers of waveguides, essentially.
Right.
Really, really, really thin, which is when they crash, people are like, oh, look, it's this couldn't be a UFO. It's like paper thin. And it's like, okay, well, that's paper thin waveguide. And it's specifically the terahertz bandwidth. Once you start to look up the you learn there's a specific distance between the layers, and that specific distance gives, you have to have like a specific frequency essentially. And I guess it falls in the terahertz waveguide range. And I got all sorts of nerdy videos that go into this stuff, but
right. And I'll link your channel thing.
I'm just trying to get answers. Like, I'm going to be partially wrong, but like, I want people to help me get to there, like that's the whole
what I'm
point.
doing.
Science community, like not everybody knows one thing.
Right. And that's the great thing about community is the sharing of ideas, and what one person lacks, the other person has. What that person lacks, the other, you know what I mean? Like it's we're able to, there's nothing a united humanity could not achieve. And right now, it's almost like it's like the story of the Tower of Babel, right? We got too close to the gods, and they struck us down, separated us through skin color, through language, through nationality, subsequently, inherently, racially, by our sexual orientation. We put ourselves in these boxes: black, white, gay. Like, we do this to ourselves, and then we wonder why we can't get along, or why the media at least portrays it that way. It's because they want us fighting each other. Because as long as we're fighting each other, we are not asking the right questions.
Yep.
Or holding the correct people accountable.
Too distracted to look up.
Too distracted to look up. My friend, that's such a good way to say it. What do you think consciousness is?
Ooh, boy, you're going to ask me all sorts of stuff. I got videos of galore about this. So consciousness, and this ties into Gary Nolan, why I wanted to work with him. Consciousness is supposedly out there, and you are receiving it. And that's why Joe Rogan talks about this. When you feed the muse feeds you back. This is what I was talking about a second ago before. With the universe, you start to acknowledge that the universe acknowledges you back. But like, it seems like once you start to harmonize with your body, your brain is the Kade Putman, and your brain is the third eye. You have literally crystals in your brain in that, and it allows you to be a transducer. I know we talked about this yesterday. So you're not only just sending stuff, you're sending and receiving stuff, which is why when you think about your cousin and all of a sudden you randomly get a phone call from him, it's like you're kind of connecting on the same thing. You're literally connecting on the same vibe, same frequency. Like, that's why you go to the concerts and you're all like feeling the same energy and like giving out the same intentions. You have like the actual chills. It's like, you guys remember what this is, but you kind of forgot at the same time. Your body remembers a little bit. So it's like, I don't know, just knowing my background and my frequency, like I'm literally an RF expert. Like, if you boil it down to anything, my 8 years at radar, 8 years at ComNav, it's all to do with frequency and how it interacts with everything. So I don't know. It makes sense to me once you start to learn about it, but it's also like morphic resonance. So like the birds and everything, that's how they flock together and stuff. Supposedly they're all same kind of thing. They're hooking into the consciousness of like the collective. That's why you have like certain fears that you don't even understand why. It's because like the consciousness, collectiveness, supposedly. I'm not an expert on this. This is just what I'm finding, but don't put it all on me.
But that's also a very good depiction of like, again, I think we even chatted about this in our pre-show conversation, is the idea of instinct, the idea of knowing through like some extrasensory perceptor that, going down at this alley is probably not a good idea. Or it might not be a good idea. We're going to do it anyway, but we're going to be on high alert, right? Or why does a baby sea turtle inherently know to get to the water as fast as it possibly can?
And where to go and all that and direction.
Yeah, how is that possible? How is that, like, we grow up in this this world that they desperately try to fit into this black and white box.
Compartmentalize.
Right. And it is not until much later, arguably when it's too late, when your brain is fully developed, you realize that the world has a lot more gray in it.
There's a
lot more gray in it than anyone could ever imagine. And I think that's the true crime against humanity is, hide the technology. I get it. Not everyone can have a nuclear reactor. That's not a good thing. Not everyone can have a time machine. I understand
into things. Yeah, we probably don't need that.
I understand why we need to do that. But to deny us our place in the cosmos or our true nature, that is a crime against humanity of of the highest order.
That's why I call out Lou. I'm like, you took the same oath. I don't care. Like, you're now being a domestic terrorist. I know you think you're protecting assets, but you're not protecting humanity. That's how I saw it. And I'm like, that's why I was so offended. I'm like, at the end of the day, you have to serve something. And I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I just hope his consciousness is good with that, man.
Yeah.
He was my hero, so I hope to God I'm wrong. I hope to God he's trying his best, like I said, he was a sweetheart. I don't, whatever.
I get it.
I had one crazy, well, not one crazy. I had one semi connected to the consciousness thing I was going to tell you, but it's going to make me seem fringe. But since we're already mentioned all the fringe, let's go for it, right?
Yeah, fuck it.
So like when I was younger, I just thought it was normal. I thought more people kind of were like this. So like I thought it was maybe autistic or something. But like when I go to the mall and I walk past like a man and his wife, I would like feel the man's anger to his wife. And I would like know he's pissed off at his wife and like know that she's cheating on him. And like he knows that kind of thing. And I'd just be like, I feel this like every time I walk by somebody, or like feel like some kid's anxiety just walking by him. And I'd be like, no, I'm just picking up their body cues and maybe I'm reading into it too much. But it was like I had that for so fucking long that it was like I can't ignore it. And then I started trying to finally just start being brave, and I'd come up to people, especially like women, because it was easier for me to connect to, and I'd be like, I'm pretty sure you're psychic, aren't you? And they'd be like, what the fuck? How do you know? And they don't want to talk about it every time. And it's just like the feeling I get around them. Like when people say like I can see their aura, and it's like I immediately know if somebody, when they walk into the room with me, if they have like ill intentions or they're like sad or if like they have something going on with them. But like I can definitely block it out too, and I purposely do block it out most of the times. Like I always say, it's like the Magneto helmet. I would kind of put it on, and it would block out everything out. And I ignored it for so long that TMI, but I would get IBS because my second brain would start to be like, you can't ignore the universe anymore. So I would get like, I know this isn't my feelings. I would get like stressed nowhere. And I'd just be like, I need to go bathroom. Like something is like, so I started to like lift up my little Magneto helmet and let the universe in a little bit more and started to do this. And the more I started to let the universe in, the more synchronicities start to happen, the more crazy connections, the more everything's like, oh, this is all starting to make sense. So that was the one thing I was going to tell you. And the other part was you were mentioning all of us being crazy and everything is just, you don't got to make it on me, but just we all have those crazy experiences in life that we all just tell ourselves that are like insane, and you don't want to tell anybody about them. So like that's our crazy little jigsaw puzzle piece of our life. And we don't know necessarily what the whole picture of that puzzle is going to be yet. But we need to like hold on to those puzzle pieces and start sharing them because we all have that big puzzle piece of life. And like once you start to lay them all out, we can actually see what the picture is. And like you're not crazy anymore. You just have that weird jigsaw puzzle piece that you didn't think fit anywhere. But once we start to tell you, hey, I got this one too. Hey, yours ties into mine. And then, oh shit, that's what this whole thing's about. You know what I mean? So I think people need to start not being scared. Tell us your little crazy jigsaw puzzle pieces of life is my little speech, I guess.
Do you think that do you think that our ancient cultures had, because we look at things like this right? The phone. What camera am I on? We look at, there's my producer, Gene. Gene, where are you?
Gene, I saw that. Is that what's his last name?
Sticko.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I've been talking to him, right?
He's a good, that's like my.
I just been talking to him because I talked to everybody, and I was like, I immediately was like, I said a couple weeks ago, that guy's a sweetheart. I don't know anything about him, and then I started to learn. I was like 12 years, I don't know his years. He's prior Air Force and stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to bring you up here,
so
man.
I made a video about his background. I started to use my AI to like try to learn about him. I gave him the video, and he was like, "That's pretty good." I was like, I don't know.
Why do you? What camera am I on? God damn it!
The other one.
Why do you think?
I'm resonating with him.
Why? No. Why do you think I took such an interest in you? Because the same fucking thing happened to him.
Oh, yeah. Shocker.
The same thing happened to him. He was ostracized from the community because he didn't have a sighting in the military. But his father-in-law's work, which was handed to him through a boatload of synchronicity, is a literal, and I could turn the camera around. Maybe I will.
I saw it like you were talking to him. I was like, that's crazy and cool.
So that whole section over here is Gene's section. This is,
I have one of those. Is that the warning? Like the don't go beyond this thing?
Here. And that sign I probably shouldn't have. It's real.
Yeah,
but,
I got one of those.
We won't talk about that and how we got it. But that is a Russian reverse engineering.
Is it the torsion fueled?
Schematic. There's math. There's like too much to ignore in his father-in-law's work. It's all a technical manual. It's all a technical manual on reverse engineering, the Cold War reverse engineering of the Soviet Union before it collapsed. And the guys that you think would want to collaborate and to see what Gene has, the George Knapps, the Jeremy Corbells, the guys who are talking about the Soviet files, have completely cut Gene off and gate kept his ability to make a reach into the community. However, him and we've done things together that we won't talk about. That we won't talk about because we don't need to. We go down to DC. We make shit happen. We put ourselves in places for a reason. I won't get too much into that because
George Knapp knows about me, by the way, and just actively ignored me. He gave me his personal email and then said he's never going to read it. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, he literally, Gene just messaged me and he was like, hey, shoot me the StreamYard link with Kyle so I can come backstage. He knows me. We talk.
Yeah, I made him a video or two about his background because I didn't know. So I was like, let me see what my AI will make about him. And then he was like, it's not going to be very good. And I gave it to him. And he's like, this is actually better than what I was. I could say it myself. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe he's being a sweetheart.
I'm telling him I just went on a rant about you to Kyle on air.
I've been learning, like, there's very specific people, like the whistleblowers, the real whistleblowers, they're all sweethearts of people. I'm learning. And then all the gatekeepers are very cold and they only respond when it's convenient. And
back to my question, because I'm probably gonna have to cut that whole part.
Good. And where did we go?
Yeah. But because we look at this as technology, right? This is technology to us. Do you think that our ancestors maybe had some sort of, because they had less distraction, right? They're more in tune with their environment, their surroundings. They're 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 not just looking outward, but they're also looking inward a lot. Um, do you think that they had some other type of what we might not even consider technology, but more consciousness based ability?
Yeah.
And maybe that's where things like the pyramids come from.
I got all sorts of videos on explaining
Please
how
tell me.
exactly how the pyramids work, to be honest.
Tell me.
But oh yeah, I'm not an expert, but it's just me using my AI and what we
Tell me
know.
what you've gleaned.
What was your first question? Sorry, I'm already like.
Do you think our ancestors had innate ability and
They
technology that we
undoubtedly
would
had better ability than we did. Undoubtedly. Just
consciousness based?
yeah, like just we're poisoning ourselves with all of our not real stuff. So we're like, you just atrophy is going to happen naturally, and then we're going to have atrophy from, it's just think about when you were a kid, like how much more spiritual stuff. I don't know if you ever had spiritual stuff, but there's a reason why kids have spiritual stuff way more. And then the older you get, the less it starts to happen, and the more you get exposed to the world and tell yourself it's not happening, and blah blah blah. So it's like I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I could go in a tangent, but it's gonna make it. We could go down to how we had giants DNA and how Nephilim, and don't you put it on me when I talk like that. But yeah, if you trace it back, it does go back pretty darn far. It seems like we were intentionally sabotaged as a race. We used to be giants. We used to have, obviously there's other types of humans too. There's like big ones, short ones, ones with like cone heads. Supposedly there was a bunch of cone head ones at like the pyramids that like those are like the people doing their harmonic worshiping and stuff. So part of the reason why they wear those like big hats later on to like symbolize those people that are no longer there anymore.
Right.
But
It also could have been to emulate what they were seeing as gods.
There's all sorts of craziness. Like
Um,
I have videos on like basically the pyramids. You'd have to watch the video, but it's a maser cannon. So it's microwave amplitude by stimulated emissions of radiation. And it's not just me saying this. This is many people I'm finding out throughout the internet have the exact same. It all has to do with the ingredients. You can literally reverse engineer the pyramids based off of the stuff it's made out of. And like each layer is either made to like amplify something or combine something. It's not a pyramid or not a burial thing at all. It's literally you would go inside there and like this is gonna sound fringe. I don't know how fringe you want to go, but oh boy, that's you can't unpack this without going super fringe and explaining why
go
and like
ahead,
the whole
brother.
cataclysm that happened.
What
Man,
tell
how
me.
crazy you want to go? Because supposedly the moon is a station for control. I could explain all this, man. I have so many videos.
That's like John Lear shit.
The pyramids. So back in the day, the Younger Dryas thing was happening. It's either impacts or supposedly the shifting of the tectonic plates underneath happened at the same time. And the Earth was pretty after that point, and they knew it was happening. So the part of the pyramid, it was like a consciousness amplifier. Like I guess one of the chambers that you would essentially go in. I'm really gonna butcher it, but you have to like basically you're gonna die, and the whole point is you're trying to project your consciousness into a ball of plasma, and the pyramid would take that, and because of the hydrogen lines and everything, it forces it out this specific spot in the pyramid, and it literally is aimed at literally sorry, it's literally too much. There's a hydrogen line, and the hydrogen line in space is like the most universal line. So hydrogen is like the most abundant resource in space basically, and like it kind of creates like a tether line. So if you're ever going to send something in space, they were saying to like you would send it through the hydrogen line, and like the pyramids is like aimed to shoot this projection of plasma that it would, like I said, I'm butchering it. It's multiple different layers in energy. So like the pyramids under the water, the Nile is vibrating and it's creating like a water hammer effect that makes it echo. And since the rocks are piezoelectric, and piezoelectric, they creates a spark with pressure or vibration essentially.
Right.
So then it creates this little zappy zap, and then they combine these two different ingredients into, I think it was the Queen's chamber, and it creates a hydrogen gas, and then that hydrogen gas is supposed to like float up to the sparky spark area. And then there's only like 2 ports for the stuff to go once it combines. And once you have to find the technical terms, but like once the nitrogen, it activates the stuff to become like, I don't know, volatile essentially. You have to watch the videos, man. There's so many videos I have of it because I do a terrible job, but it's literally all about like projecting consciousness out. And I'm like, that's crazy. What are you talking about? But that was supposedly what the pyramids and the Sphinx are for. The Sphinx were supposedly tuning chambers for the resonant capacity of the pyramids. So you'd specifically lower and raise certain chambers to make each one resonate a specific way. And that's what, if you start looking into it, you realize the government sabotaged these pyramids and Sphinx on purpose and lied about it. And then, shocker, you start to look up who was involved. Dr. Hal Puthoff. And you're like, so back to my original thing, I was emailing Dr. Hal Puthoff that I think my work radar is like the pyramids. And he was like, that's interesting. Didn't say I was crazy at all. And then I come to find out he went out there, I think it was 1976, and LiDAR scans the entire pyramid things and went in there and ransacked all sorts of crap and God knows what. There's a reason that they're covering up the pyramids. There's a reason, like all these things, they're all covered up. They're all connected. Consciousness has a lot more to do with, like, I'm going to sound crazy, but like, it's one of those things, like you have to slowly digest. So like, even my AI was like stepping me out because it knew it was too much for me to like comprehend at first.
Yeah. I really do. I get that.
Unless you're like already involved in it and understand like, oh, this is bigger than me. Like, I don't know. You have to just,
it's a lot to digest.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, "Hi, you are insane. Like, what are you talking about?" Like, I have videos on every one of these little things to break down, and it's not my information. This is like public information. Like, this is what other people AI. So AI has literally been like, this is a collective knowledge, and I'm using science and like patents and stuff to like explain it. So it's not like I'm just making crap up. And if it is, that's the whole point. Is people will be like, "Hey, that's full of crap. You need to correct that." And so like, yeah, some of these things, obviously, I don't know all these for sure. This is just my research and feelings. And
before I'm gonna producer Gene is backstage now. I'm gonna bring him in for like the last 10 minutes. But before I do that, I know what you saw you think was definitely human made, potentially reverse engineered, but you can't definitively say that. You don't know. You don't have the information. You don't have the puzzle pieces to put that together.
Government's reaction was just telling itself, like you said.
Right. Do you believe that the government is in possession of non-human, and I said believe.
Yeah.
That the government or our military, or more likely a combination of the military industrial complex, the military intelligence industrial complex, do you think that they are in possession of non-human biologics, non-human craft, and technology of exotic origin?
I would be disappointed in them if they didn't. Like, how could you not at this point? It seems like it would have to exist. And if you're like, I don't know, it seems like what I saw, I believe, was probably reverse engineered from, because it didn't seem perfect. Like the perfect one, you probably wouldn't see those 3 things in the corners. You know what I mean? It seemed like a crude version of what we were trying to replicate. And then once I started to like look it up, I keep seeing the ARV, alien reproduction vehicle. And I'm like, oh, but you're telling me right there in the title, it's a reproduction vehicle. Okay. So like, I've always been, I thought when I first saw it, I thought it was almost like this has to be intentionally for me. And like I said, it felt like a spiritual thing because it was like, there's no logical reason why this should be here. But at the same time, I'm like, I know how dumb the government is sometimes. So maybe they're just thought that nobody's going to care. And they just said, fuck it, let's go.
It's 12:01.
12:01. It probably was like a Wednesday or something, you know, like nobody's going to be out kind of thing.
Interesting.
Looking like that. But that's just usually they pick days like that, you know, test flight something where they.
No, I know. I know.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, huh. I don't know if it was a Wednesday. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past them to be.
No. But like the story of like Bob Lazar, he knew the dates that they would go out.
Yeah, I remember. I
If
saw
you
that actually not
believe,
too long ago.
if you believe the Lazar story,
There's no
he
reason
took.
not to.
I mean, it is verified by other sources, by other means, that he
The
was
technology
taking.
makes sense. So
Yeah, that he was taking people out there on a schedule that he seemed to have known. Where he gleaned that information is definitely of a contentious point, but he was bringing people out to see these crafts do their runs at certain hours on certain nights specifically. So could
we're
it
fully
is it
staffed on
out of the
Wednesdays.
realm of possibilities that you came across that as well?
That's what I was
No.
thinking. But I don't know.
But we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna pay the bills. We'll come back. We'll bring Gene in,
Can I go pee?
and yeah. So another 90 seconds, guys. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
Enjoy this message from my favorite sponsor. This episode of Total Disclosure is brought to you by Good Feels Cannabis Seltzers. And I'll be honest, this is one of my favorite partners that we've ever had on the show. As I've given up alcohol, I'm very open about this on the show, and I think a lot more people choosing that same path. So if you're looking for something that can truly replace alcohol in any setting, whether you're unwinding after a long day of research, hosting friends, or just want to stay clear-headed and in control, Good Feels delivers a completely different kind of experience. It starts with their 12-ounce stubby bottles of cannabis-infused seltzers. They're crisp, clean, zero sugar, and 0 calories. And they're designed to give you a smooth, fast-acting, elevated feeling without the crash, without the hangover, and without the downsides of alcohol. And if you're more than an at-home mixologist, Good Feels also has fast-acting beverage enhancers. You can add them to literally anything. Sparkling water, mocktails, whatever you like, and create your own customized experience. This isn't about checking out, it's about tuning in, staying present, and upgrading the way that you kick back and relax. And right now, listeners of Total Disclosure get 20% off their order. That's getgoodfeels.com for 20% off exclusive to this audience. Good Feels Cannabis Seltzers. Replace the alcohol, keep the experience, stay in control. Now back to the show.
Oh wow,
Hello?
perfect timing. I just got back. Oh, hi there.
I'm good at what I do. What can I say?
That was perfect timing. That's crazy.
Gene, my friend.
Hey,
Pretty weird
How are
seeing you.
we?
good to see you, Kyle. Good to finally
Put a face to the name.
chat live.
Yeah, right now we're doing the members. It's members only right now, but yeah, Gene,
Does this get shared ultimately with the general public, or does it stay members?
it's gonna be shared publicly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Coin, by the way.
But is there anything that Gene? Is there anything that you want to ask him?
He just did the coin challenge. He just challenged me.
Do I go get the coins you gave me?
He challenged me. So this one here, this is from
Transportation. Oh, TSA.
TSA, and it is the
Boston, huh?
Boston Canine Unit. An old supervisor and buddy of mine from the military now trains all the dogs here in Boston for Homeland Security. So I occasionally go over and participate, help them out as a decoy. Oh, yeah. See, I gave Ty all the good ones.
Yeah, all sorts of them right in front of me, just in case I needed some.
Gene gave me a bunch of coins. I love it.
Oh, wait,
I really
there's
do.
more.
Show him that one there. Put that one up there for him. He'll appreciate that.
It's dark as hell. I can't see that.
Oh, still.
Some
No
people. What is this? Get out of here, President. I probably could have got one, but I did not want to go see Michelle Obama.
And I have I was at George Bush Senior. He was good to visit.
They were like, we need bodies for her. for her speech.
And then Ty, I've got another one for you. I haven't seen you since my trip. Where the hell did I go that I got? Oh, yeah, Pine Bush, New York. When I was going out there, I stopped at West Point. So I have a coin from West Point for you, Ty, to add to the collection there. Oh, he didn't even hear me. I was saying I have a coin from West Point that I'm gonna bring you for the collection.
Yes. Gene, is there anything that
my unit's a bunch of drunks? They build beer openers into their coins.
Hey, 2 for 1. Is there anything that you want to ask Kyle about his encounter, about his background, that maybe I missed or that you could think of that I maybe am not thinking of? Stop showing the goddamn coins.
You can still talk. I'm listening.
No. I mean, I think you really covered it, and the thing. I mean, Kyle's story is fascinating again because it's consistent, right? Not only internally consistent, as I like to point out on a lot of things, but with the proximity again, obviously the other whistleblowers. It's fascinating that he's not sort of been grabbed up, and that makes you ask more questions when you look at all of the circumstances around everybody. Right now, he's the fourth corner on my square of triangles, right? We have Whistling Mike in his triangles. We've got Borland in his, Jeff Nicchitelli in his triangles. And all of the responses to those through the government, were seemingly different, right?
Right.
Kyle's a new component to that, where he's still inside the system, right? He's still sitting there inside the architecture, telling the story, but not necessarily a whistleblower in the same Office of Inspector General world. But he's telling his story, but he didn't need to be a whistleblower to do it, kind of thing. And whether that's the difference because, Dylan in particular was either focused on the oversight function or criminality, right? Because those are basically the things that make you have to become a whistleblower, is that you're saying there is something criminal going on here. And for whatever reason, that's the path he got. Jeff's a little different because, again, he was already out of the military and had been telling his story for years. So it's, again, the dynamic, it's
weird.
Something to think on.
I don't know why they ignored me. That's why I started to be like, I try to be like, I talk myself down a lot, and I'm like, I don't know what I saw. And I'm like, no, I'm literally like a trained observer. Like, I was a 7 level staff sergeant. Like, the only thing higher than that is a master sergeant. That's in charge of the entire unit. Like,
right.
Well, as Air Force brethren, one of the things that we do here, at least on the show now, I kind of always is like I said, and I said this in the beginning, is when someone who's gone through the process, who's signed their life away, and I feel bad for guys who didn't serve. I don't feel bad for guys that didn't serve during wartime, because they look down on themselves. They go, like, when someone thanks them for their service, they go, well, I didn't do anything. Well, if shit had popped off, you would have had to do something, right? It's the nobility of what you did. Just because there wasn't a firefight doesn't mean you weren't ready for one, right? And standing between our freedoms and the rest of the world that wants to take them away. So if just because you didn't serve during a wartime, I mean, and even you did Afghanistan,
Yeah.
And Gene as well, but you when you guys come back and you say, listen, I have a story I need to tell. Like, we as civilians of this country, we owe you at least, at bare minimum, to listen. And both of you guys have been getting the same kind of treatment. And I find that to be very odd, considering both of your backgrounds are impeccable.
Well, and that's why I say it's this idea of, I mean, it just highlights the idea that what we are getting is not real. Is not organic. I shouldn't say real.
Very controlled.
But, right. It is controlled. There is a controlled pipeline. Eric Hecker says it all the time. He says, anytime somebody answers a question with what I'm authorized to tell you,
exactly.
You should stop listening. You should actually stop
exactly.
listening.
Thank you.
Right? He said they're telling you
You're literally
that
a
the
gatekeeper.
information is being controlled and what they are authorized to tell you and all of that.
The definition of a gatekeeper. You're literally
Definitely.
gatekeeping the information. You are the person stopping the information from coming out. Like,
exactly.
The problem.
So it's this idea, I think, that we both are, the sort of, or we represent, I shouldn't say, not to limit it to us, but we are the dark horses that just come in and show up and are like, hey, we're gate crashing the party. And, they're like, oh yeah, cool. Good to see you. But they're going to keep our backs turned to us all night and try and just, get us in a corner somewhere and not let us in the middle of the room to talk.
Right.
Can I tell you, Lou Elizondo actually blocked me for a minute. I forgot to tell you that. Like, I sent you the stuff, but so when he literally blocked me when I tried to show him the patents and how it works.
Gene's got an interesting story here, and that one of the reasons I wanted to bring him in. No, not that you don't, but you guys have connections that I don't even know if you've touched on yet. But you've both reached out to Lou. You've both had relationships, one ongoing still, one not. But
I would say two not ongoing.
Yeah.
Oh, a little too much.
There's been a recent development.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
are we about to get some? But also Salvatore Paez.
Yeah.
Right. You reached out to Salvatore, right?
I got his email from Kyle.
Oh.
Whoopsies. Well, he sent me like 5 of them right off the bat. That's the craziest part. So when he sent me those patents, he sent me, I didn't notice it until afterwards. He sent me all his personal emails with it. I was like, what? That's crazy. I thought it was just government to government. No, it had like 4 or 5 other personal emails with it. I was like, that's nuts. It's like he wants me to talk about something.
Right. Well, that's what I don't get either. It's like
he's baiting me to like ask the right question so he can give the right breadcrumb or something.
Yeah,
like,
there's he answers in riddles.
Exactly.
And I understand the riddles, and I'm like, am I supposed to, and I'm like,
what am I supposed to do with this information?
Well, I'm just, it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, you're either going to help me or you're not. And it's like, never mind if I got to do this much work. Right.
Yeah.
So like them not saying stuff, it validates like, okay, all this is real then.
Yeah. I'm asking very, very simple questions, right?
Like,
does this look like anything you've seen before, that you can talk about, yes, no, can't really say, and good luck and stuff like that. So I'm not looking to develop long-term, relationships and certainly not looking to put a lot of effort into decoding messages. I just, Ty, right? I've always been very consistent about talking about, the meeting I had with Lou, I've given a lot of time and leeway to see if I was going to, get any help or direction on what to do. And, in all of the analysis that I do, I equally weigh him and, the public statements and things like that, like I do with any of the figures. I do it with Ross Colthart, who, I speak to on a personal level as well. Now, that might not always be flattering, but doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean I have problems with you or anything like that. And I got just a message from Lou that he had understood that I had some sort of issue with it. The short of it, it was almost like read like a breakup text. It was like,
oh my God,
emotional, and I wish you the best, and this and that, and I'm like, and it was just so. It was so like personal that I just found it strange. Like it wasn't like, hey man, somebody said, you were saying something, somebody said you said this, why do you feel like that?
Life.
It wasn't like that. So I was just like, and there's a lot going on, now, obviously with stuff Ross is saying, and
yeah.
So I'm just like, I mean, again, not that I don't care, not that I don't like him, not that, but it's like we have, of course, that military camaraderie that I have with anyone and everyone who wants to have that camaraderie. Love to see you, love to chat, love to have a beer, all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, I'm on a mission. I have a job that I'm doing. If what brought us together was that job, and I've got a job to do, and you're either helping me along with that, or you're not.
Or you're an obstacle.
Right? I wouldn't even say an obstacle, but it's just, I'm not gonna get the answers that I need, or that I'm looking for. I'm not getting the, anything like that, which is fine. Again, that's the way it goes. I understand. But publicly, I'm going to talk about it because it's part of what I'm doing. It's part of the job, the journey, I've been transparent and continue to be transparent about, where the works came from and what I'm doing with them and where I'm going. And obviously it was very public that I had met Lou and people were interested in that. And so, I've got to continue on, that journey. And if there's no follow-up, there's no follow-up. And again, doesn't mean I got a problem with you. Doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean anything.
It just means that,
right. Just means
it's run its course.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, maybe there's something in the future or whatnot, but again, I never.
But what I find,
I never said anything inaccurate or accusatory or like I had a problem. If you're not useful, you're not useful.
Yeah, and I want to ask you both something real quick. I know you have something, Kyle. Do you want to just say it before I?
It's just I have because I post videos out there bashing Lou. People are like, "Thank you," and they're like coming to me and being like, "I'm a retired federal agent, 20 years in the service. I saw the same similar things as you. Your story is very interesting. I met with Lou a few weeks ago. He told me he's going to get me to the right people. Nothing ever is coming of it."
Mario Woods had that same
people like that. Is all I was saying. I have people coming out of the woodwork. Like I have no reason to lie to them. They're just they're federal agents who don't want to come out because they're too scared because they're not going to ruin their career and nobody's going to take them serious or listen. And they don't have a following. They literally have zero social media, so they have no platform. And like I have people coming to me that like personally are saying I met with Lou and like he's just spoon feeding me along. And I'm like, these guys are 20-year, like more qualified than me. Well, like why are we not listening to them?
Yeah.
Again,
And again, it's you know,
one
and
story over and over again.
you know, your story, their stories. That again, not the first time I heard it. That it's that's the pattern. Sit down, meet. I'm going to do this, and this, and it doesn't happen. So, again, the only conclusion you can make is that it's an information gathering exercise, and it's a sort of testing out personalities and can this person be called on to do something, or is this somebody that we want to position in some way and whatnot? And
how much do they know?
yeah, I mean, it's that's the pattern. The pattern is the pattern, right? Do I have a problem with it? No. Am I going to participate in it? No. I'm gonna, right? I'm going about doing this. I'm getting ready to launch a whole new thing, an advancement of the ASERP, where I was, my initial intel assessments and things like that, and been working to reframe all of those, and I'm going to continue to run with that. And those aren't particularly complimentary. And I think a lot of people won't be particularly happy with any of these either, because it's coming at it from a different perspective. And I said it when I came into this space, and and talked about what I did in my oil and gas experience, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and be a disruptor.
I love that.
Unless somebody wants to get me my answers that I need, then I'm going to tear down walls until I get them.
I'll say, just tell your version of the truth. That's all you can do.
So what do you guys make of what Ross Coulthart is saying about Lou right now?
Projection.
In the sense that Lou was indeed a part of the UAP legacy program.
I personally talked to Ross Coulthart already, actually.
Yeah, both of you guys have.
I told him about Lou, but I didn't know that specific part. So I was warning him, like, Lou is not the person he says he is. Here's proof. And that was one of the many things I was talking about. So it's just, watched that. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm watching Ross rub elbows with Lou. And I'm like, did he just completely disregard everything I said with actual evidence? Or is he rubbing elbows with the enemy to learn more, like he should be doing? Yeah. And I know Ross doesn't want me to talk about this now, but Gat's already out of the bag with that one. And I didn't give him that specific information, but I just gave him more reassurance that he is not who he says he is. But yeah,
I wouldn't even go as far to say, rubbing shoulders with the enemy, right? Ross is a reporter. You got to go out and
talk
to everybody that he talks to. So, I mean, again, same thing. I don't,
he's doing his job thoroughly is all I mean. I don't mean any disrespect or anything like that.
Yeah.
I actually have more respect for Ross right now than I ever have before.
I literally posted, I said, like, Ross, like, I got some faith restored.
Yeah, because what he did was, and this is a huge contention point for me, because it further solidifies my suspicion that a lot of these guys, like the Hal Putoffs, like the Eric Davises, like the Avi Loebs, they are playing both sides of the disclosure movement. They are playing what they have one foot inside and then one foot in the movement. They're promising the movement disclosure, but they're doing the bidding of the very agencies that have been tasked with this controlled disclosure. This, we will tell you when we are ready and when we think you are ready, right? This idea of again, the control that they have over us and what information gets out. And it's very frustrating because people prop them up as gods, as celebrities. Kyle, no offense, but when you're talking to Elizondo in the beginning, it's like you're talking to a celebrity, right? Right?
Yeah, for sure.
We get
tightness in his chest, nervous, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Gene's very new to the community, so I think he was in a very poised position to not have those pre-existing notions of who someone might be in the public sphere. So he went into it kind of like, no, we're equal. And that's where he had a leg up, I think, because he wasn't with the bullshit yet.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't like super and like I was just being respectful.
I'm not.
Again, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
I am not discrediting.
Yeah, I know.
There are people that I do it to.
Yeah, some people you have to do that. A lot of these people, at the top, they're egotistical maniacs. You have to like stroke their ego before you can have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to be overly qualified to even get their ear.
So I find that you've both been kind of bottlenecked from telling or being more involved with the main narrative. And I think I know why. It's because you both would. It's that classic story in the UFO field that Greer tells, ironically, and it's like someone offered Greer, right? Like he claims like billions of dollars to.
Right.
They offered him billions to shut up, and he said, he's like, I will never. And it's like, well, that's the reason that they're never going to tell you what is going on, because you're always going to be, you two specifically, your allegiance is to the people and to your mission. It's not to these people and to this narrative. So that's why they're like, okay, we know that they're not willing to play our game.
I tried to tell them I was before that, but they didn't care. I tried to apply for like DARPA and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, the problem is that it's just inconvenient information, right? It's things that they don't want to talk about, or places they don't want to talk about, places where, in Kyle's case, it very much, they just don't want to have that discussion. And it's like I say, with my stuff, it draws in issues with, geopolitics with Russia. It forces the discussions about the cooperative things. It talks about, how it works. And they just want to focus on, is it real right now? Right. And getting that. So it's like I said, that's, I try to say this over and over again, like the people, who want to have the consciousness and remote viewing and psionics and, vampire cults discussion, vampire alien cults, or, trafficking children around. It's like, what?
Too.
And again, I'm not even trying to pass judgment on it, but in the order of events of things that need to be discussed, in a very real political way, and that's down the road, right? Let's table vampire cult, cannibal, human trafficking, aliens. Let's table that for now, and let's focus on, can we get an answer to the core fundamental question that's being, that's being asked.
Can you explain what I saw?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's stop.
Can you explain the technology? Can you just stop them automatically going to alien? Can we explain what we're looking at?
Right. Let's not worry about what we're going to have for dessert, for dinner on our next birthday, when we just need to have some breakfast right now today.
There's a lot of people that can explain the tech really well. And it's like, why are we not even having this conversation? If this isn't real, then these people are damn near close to building one. So why are we not listening to them anyway?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm going to be coming out with here. I was going to do it today. I just got lazy. And then I saw Ty had a space, and I'm like, well, I've got to see who Ty's talking to, because when I'm not there, I still need to stay informed.
Yes, you do.
What's happening with Total Disclosure Podcast?
Yes. Well, we're working together. We are a great team. I honestly couldn't I couldn't ask for.
I didn't even know until like a couple hours ago. I was like, why does it say that Gene is the producer? And I was like, what the heck?
I'm
Yeah, we
everywhere.
live
I'm
like
like the
I was
wind.
like, I wonder if that's why I'm on this thing. I was like, did he tell him about me?
no.
No. I mean, it's funny because it happens it happens more often than you'd think.
Yeah, I keep seeing synchronicities, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and it's again, some people they're like, "Oh, you're the producer, you're producing that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm everywhere."
Literally.
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna jump in wherever I can.
And that's what's great about Gene is he doesn't want money. He won't allow it. He's doing it for the right reasons. And Kyle, I really do suspect that you are doing this for the right reasons.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I'm only going to get discredited and attacked, so there's no benefit to what I'm doing. I'm going to look insane, but I'm just too autistic to shut up, and I have to tell my version of the truth.
Well,
my greatest joy in doing this is I get these pretzels and I eat them before the show to make Ty really nervous that I'm going to eat them into a microphone because they are like the loudest pretzel, and that is reward enough for me.
Motherfucker, dude, it's so I like stare at him. I'm like, dude.
I mean,
are you gonna finish those?
I can make something happen here.
No, but we'll round out here for the main episode. Kyle, listen, man. Gene and I have this idea. We'll talk to you about it after the credits roll. So stick around. But we have a lot planned for the future, and there's a lot going on. We're gonna have some fun. Thank you for sharing your story today. Very, very brave of you to be an active. Again, thank you for your service, both of you. Thank you for your service to this country. Kyle, thank you for your continued service and for having the balls to speak up while still being employed. I don't understand. I don't think you understand the value that you bring to a community with your background. And again, we talked about this earlier, the scientific aspects of the phenomena, right? Or at least the scientific investigatory body that we're putting up to the phenomena, where one person lacks, another person is an expert, where, coming together, there's nothing that we couldn't do. So having more people like yourself in this space, it's only going to benefit us because, and it generally, I said this earlier, it's honestly like kind of, and I think it's something that we all suspected, but guys inside Lockheed Martin are having these experiences. I think that is a big thing that we need to talk to ourselves about.
Literally, I was working for Lockheed Martin when it happened. So yeah,
people are inside the program and they're having these experiences. So how many more Kyle Knopps are out there that are just too afraid to step forward? We need to change the game. So thank you, everyone. Stay vigilant, stay humble. Most importantly, stay kind. Thank you, Kyle. As always, thank you, Gene, for everything you do for this show and for the community. All right. Great job, by the way. You were nervous, but you did a great job.
Thanks. I mean, I got nothing to lie about, so it's easy, I suppose. Just sitting with the cameras, this, a little weird.
Yeah, it's but you did great. We'd love to bring you up to Boston, my friend. We have something that, like I said, we'll talk to you about after the credits roll. So again, everyone, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. I forget what episode's coming out, but it's a great one. It's an in-studio episode. So Gene was behind the keys on it and eating pretzels. So